To start with the single page scenario, first of all, we need to have our page route, right? So in the client, I'm going to create another route which is going to have a product, and then in the product route, so as we have the product, right, we should be having another one which we will go within a dynamic format. So it will be coming as an ID, and according to the ID, then we're going to have that page.tsx, so RAFCE, that would be a single product page, right? So here it will be, let's say, product page. So hit save, and now if we try to go over there, as you can see, we have our product page, so means everything is working perfectly. Now according to that, as you can see, we are passing an ID over there, right? So it's getting the product, then according to the ID we are structurized the scenario to grab the product data and others. So what we need to do first and foremost is that to grab our data or to have the data, but before having the data we need to get our params, right? And how we can destructurize the params. To destructurize that, as you can see, the params, we need to get it is in asynchronous ways, because whenever we're gonna landing on that particular page, we need to wait till we retrieve the params. If we doesn't wait, you're gonna have a very beautiful error once we are going to deploy on that. So now over here we need to just pass that we're gonna destructure the params, and params, and the params should be coming as a promise. So it should be coming as a promise, and from that promise itself we need to pass the ID should be coming as a string. Okay, I think yeah, I will remove that. So it's okay, I think I made a little bit mistake. So this is the params by itself, right? So, and over here we can destructurize to provide the type of parameter for the params. So it should be the params, and that params is gonna be coming as a promise. So the promise gonna be holding it all together, not like that. So the params, and then it gonna coming as a promise. So the promise gonna be destructurizing that over here, which is going to be coming as an ID, and the ID should be coming as a string. So we can also destructurize that. So let's just get ID, and ID gonna be string. So now we are having our params ready. So over to grab that params, we need to get that as an according to the ID, destructurize the ID, and of course it must to be needed to pay that await functionality. So let's go back here, and now right now we have nothing to see. I'm gonna make a console log here which is going to be ID, and then we are trying to be visualizing if we have the ID. So now we have the product ID. According, whenever we're gonna having the product ID, now we will be able to fetch that particular product data. How we can grab that? First of all, let's say the product should be product, and the product should be the type of product. So product, and the type is not aligning. Okay, PRODUCT should be coming from the type should be is equal to. Now we can use an await pretty much in a very simple way. Now let's go get the fetch data function which we actually using over there, and over here we need to go with the backtick. First of all, it's gonna go the /routes products and ID, right? So now if we try to log about our product, let's say it's gonna be coming as a product, and we're gonna try to grab the product, so we should be able to see our product data. And also, as right now the Next.js also supporting at the server side or console in the client side, as you can see the product, and here you can see the product data. We have the brand data, we have the category data, we have the ratings, reviews, views, so everything perfectly aligned. So now you can also see how the way it's getting views every time. So every data is now getting in a perfect manner, right? So what we can do over here right now, as we are having the particular dependency over there, so also we're going to destructure another property which is going to give us that as a discounted price. So later on we're gonna pass this discounted price. So the discounted price should be the product.price into, then we're gonna just minusing that discount the percentage, because we doesn't have two price, we have a single price, then we are using the percentage to like the contradict on within according to it. First of all, we're gonna use a fallback. If we doesn't have the product, what we will do, if we doesn't have the product, we're gonna return, and we're gonna return a simple div, right? That would be pretty simple and a pretty defined way that it will be not that much a mandatory situation. First of all, we're gonna put an h2 tag which gonna be saying no products found with, and we're gonna pass that id, so it should be hash id, and then we're gonna just pass the id itself, which is going to be, let's say, another span tag, and here we're gonna pass the id, so id. If there is no product, so I'm gonna just make that one as a backtick, so you can see no products found with that id. So this is the way we will contradict on that. So right now we need to provide some of the class name for that. I'm going to keep it the class name as that min height should be 50 vh, so that we're going to have a very good nice looking endpoint. And also for, actually we doesn't need that a two separate div here. I think one is enough to be combining all of those things. So first of all, as you can see, h2 combining everything, I'm going to just provide that style over here, should be the text lg, and also we're going to providing that font as a medium, okay, font as medium for that id, and then for the id itself putting a font semi-bold, text a baby shop sky, and also putting the underline. And then as you can see, that's the one we actually got in our structure. Now as we have the id, so this we can pass. Another things we will really trying to be encompassing on that we should be having a back to home button, because we are going to use it in several places. So I'm going to just go in our components in the common, I'm going to just pass that back to home button. We should be have a link, and on the link itself it's going to just press on that back to home. So this is the button we're going to use, because it's very easy to combine on that whenever we're going to use it. So also we're gonna, let's say, back to home button, so you can see there would be the back to home button, and also we can provide that class name. So I'm going to just get the class name itself. So let's say if we have the class name, the class name should be as a string if we are having to be there. Okay, should be like that, so it will not be mandatory, it would be just go like that. So for itself here, we can pass that. Okay, we're gonna pass that in the button, right? So if we have any particular class name, we can simply passing by and then use it. So right now we have nothing to pass. Like if we just try to go in the class name, let's say I'm gonna make a bg of a red, so the background color it will be red, and then you can see we can just pass the color of red. So this is how we can really make something a very good and unique design. So that should be seen whenever we are doesn't having any products. So right now we are having products, so we are not going to show over that positioning. And by the way, there is for the header version, we need to do that one. We didn't finish it yet. So right now, as we are having that happen to be have those scenario, so we need to go combine some other parameter which going to be the product itself. So instead of rendering like that, I'll just get everything within the container view. So the container, so in the container we're gonna have two particular div, one and two, right? So in that we're gonna have three divs. So first div gonna be saying that image, so second div gonna be, let's say, description. Okay, so that's two div gonna be explaining how we can make that. If we go in our baby shop, as you can see, so if we go in our single product page over here, we're supposed to be seeing that. So this is the one which we are trying to make things. And by the way, as you can see, we are keeping that, we are happen to be changing getting the changes in turbo repo. We are changing a lot of things, so you're gonna see it also, you're gonna deploy that one. So first of all, we're gonna just try to combine to get initial design structure so that it can be easily wrapped up. Now over here, what we can do is, because the two separate setup it's gonna be, for the class name padding top should be 5 and mx should be 4. Okay, and also for the container itself, I'm not going to keep anything for the container, keep the container as it is, but the div of that particular horizon which going to containing to separate proportion, we're going to make that one that max with I think instead of keeping that, I think we can simply just cut it, right? Because we are happen to be grab the particular container here, so the container itself can handle those kind of structure. So put a class name and we're gonna pass that. Okay, that's it. You can see that's the same proportion is right there. And by the way, this is the Babymart Vite. So you can really clone it, you can get the admin setup, you can get that server setup, you can get the client app, and today's version it will be the client app 2 branch. So whatever the code you're gonna writing right now today, it will be found on that client app branch 2. So this is the one branch which can handle on the particular instances. I'm going to close that one. The description, the link, it will be in the description, so it will be easy to find on that. Now, first and foremost, we need to provide our image setup, right? This is the simple style we are putting on there. So in the image, we're going to use that image from the next image, and over here in the source should be, let's say, product.image, and also in the alternative tag should be a product image. And for this one, we're going to provide a width of 500, and also we're going to provide the height of 500. Now you can do a lot of things, you can combine a lot of parameters, but we are not going to handle like much more things. And why is that? Because this project combine a lot of parameter. Later on, whenever we're going to deploy the turbo repo, you can see how much parameter we're handling over there. So right now, as you can see, we still our main page, which is going to be a server side, so you're gonna trying to keep it as a server side, so it will be a very good setup to go on by. Now over here in the description, so first what we have that like the discount per discount badge, then we have other parameters. So we will try to combine all of this together. So first of all, if we go over here, did we have that discount badge? No, it doesn't have the discount. Yeah, we have the discount badge, and in the discount badge we're gonna pass that discount percentage, which going to be that product dot discount percentage. So this is gonna be our badge itself. You see, not looks so nice, but we're gonna make it looks nice. So over here you're gonna put a class name. So class name with going to be, let's say, 14. Okay, so 14 width, and now we get we got to get the discount badge. Now also we need to have that product action. So in the action means that whatever the curricular activity we can pass over there. You can see add to cart. So of course we need to sign in. I'm gonna just go by okay, I'm gonna sign in over here. Okay, that's good. So we can just need to add to the cart, but we need to sign in, we need to set up the state and others, but we will try to reconcile on there. So right now what we need to do, we need to have that our, let's say it's gonna be product action. Right now it doesn't have that. So what I'm gonna do, we're gonna trying to create that one, which really require over there to be make everything in a very productive way. And to do that, I'm going to go in our components, in the pages, I'm going to create another file and another directory over here, because this is for the pages that should be as a product. So product pages, and over here there should be another component which gonna be, let's say, product action.tsx. So this is the one which gonna combine over here. So product action, and in the product action we need to pass some of the data. So we're gonna pass our product. So the product should be it should be directly grabbing the product. So right now you're gonna see nothing here yet, because we have nothing to be passing over there. And of course we need to utilize the store, right? Because otherwise we can't save anything in local storage. We still have no login or other parameter, but we're gonna design that front end, the page of this one. Then we're gonna directly go starting building our store and other parameter for state and the login, because you know without login we can do nothing yet. So we're gonna come back to it, but we're gonna just design that product action to make it a little bit better way. So to make that things happen, so as you can see, we are passing the product itself over there. So we can simply make a product action props, or you can just simply just type as a props. So that also is gonna work. So it's up to you how you're gonna write and how you're gonna make those things to be done. And now there is a lot of option to be there. You can again you can make that one off on there. Let's say you can directly grab that fc, and over here you can pass that product action props, and you can go on that. So even you do that, as you can see, we can simply grab the product. So the props gonna be coming like that. So this is up to you how, or up to us how we can really combine, how we can really make things to be done. So as you know, we will make a pretty much a simple design over here. As you can see right here, we have that quantity, we have the add to cart badge, and then blah blah blah. So we will go on that to make things done to be in a pretty defined way. First of all, instead of that, I'm gonna just get a two option over here. So in product action, it's gonna be coming as a product name with wish list button. So this should be one, and then we're gonna also happen to be have that quantity and add to cart. And why I keep separate that one from this portion is because this entire things it's gonna be coming as a client setup, because the user need to be click on that particular button for adding to cart. We need to mutate the state and others. So this could be really making need to be making as a client side interactivity over here. That's why we made separate that one from the page to as a product action. So first we need to have our home button. So home button is doesn't that much implication is nothing there, so I'm going to just popping up over there. So as you can see, we have the wishlist button, which we didn't create yet. I'm going to keep it like that, but I'm going to keep the star button. So okay, now as you can see, we have the two separate parameter. The first one, we are happen to be that product.name, and then we are also happen to be the star icon, which going to be adding to the star. I think the star icon have nothing much to be already. I can remove that one, but the important thing is we need to have that wish list button, right? So this is one of the important ones. So if we just go over there right now, let's go in the product. So in the products, I'm going to just create that wishlist button.tsx or fce. So here it should be the wishlist button. For the button instances right now, I'm going to just keep that. As you can see, we're gonna have those functionality over here. As you can see, this all gonna be specified on that way, but I'm gonna remove right now. So right now I'm gonna just remove that, because we are not gonna entirely using those things, as you may know, and also the loading parameter, the other parameter, the title parameter. So those things is not gonna use right now. So I'm gonna just remove over from there, and right now just keep it like that. So should be backtick. Okay, backtick should be over here, and we will grab the heart icon. And as you can see, the current color, fill color, I'm going to remove that. Is loading, I'm going to remove that. So it should be like that. So this is just a simple wish list button. Here we have button, we have the icon, nothing fancy over here, because we are not gonna utilize that one right now. And so we can just simply passing over there, we can just import that wish list button, and that's it. So right now also we're not passing the product, and as you can see, we have those much parameter over here, and of course we need to provide those class name over here. So we can provide those class name. Actually it should be coming as a props. So interface props, let's say class name, if there, it should be string. So we can just simply pass that props, not the props, should be the class name, and that should be coming from the props. Okay, it's no need to be putting over here. It's directly embedding on that, so it can easily go on that. So right now, as you can see, we are not needing that particular div, as only the button itself gonna do all the capacity and do all the work. So we can simply pass that over here. As you can see, we can, instead of do like that, we can cut it over here. We can use that cn parameter, cn, and then we can just pass the manual composition, whatever the class name we are going to providing, then we can also pass the class name. And as you can see right now, nothing gonna happen because we didn't keep anything to be happen, but we're gonna come back to it later on after finishing the state mutation and other parameter. So this is the composition of there. So now we need to also getting the quantity design, right? The quantity design itself, it will not be that much devastating. So as you can see, gonna be have a div, then gonna be have a p tag, and the p tag gonna say the quantity, then gonna be have another div, then you're gonna keep the button, and that should be happen to be the minus icon, and that's it. So right now you can see 1 minus, so this could be 2, 1 minus 1 plus the quantity value here, then add to cart button. So that's it. So right now, for the minus icon, we can provide the size. I'm gonna put it as 18, and so that also after the button itself, or we can just simply pass that variation over here. So after button, we can just pass an spend value here, and right now the quantity value we can pass to provide that as a state parameter, right? So we will take two value, so quantity, not smaller quantity, set quantity. No need that react parameter, because automatically we can pass that from our react friend. Okay, so right now if we save that one, also the type error is not needing there, so by default gonna be one. Okay, should be, this auto suggestion is killing me. Okay, now, as you can see, what is mentioning here, ECMAScript file had an error, and the error is that you are importing a component that needs use state, and the React hook only works in a client component. So, of course, we need to make the entire setup as a use client flag. So, should be use client, and if we hit save, and as you can see, the error is gone, and we are good to go. So, we have the quantity statement is going to be working perfectly. So as we have that, now in the span tag we can simply pass that quantity value, and after that we can happen to be have another button here. So let's say should be another button, and on that button should be a plus icon. So the plus icon size 18, so we have the two button itself there. Now let's go back at the top. We're gonna try to one by one over there to provide the design. So put a class name, margin bottom should be 2, and for the div itself here, put a class name should be flex, item should be center, and gap should be 5. So the gap is still not here because that gap should be coming at the button and the other parameter. This is the one which gonna handling the other one, like this inner circle. So flex, item center, and the gap should be 6, and px should be 5, padding y should be 2, rounded should be full. Okay, so as you can see, that's the one actually working over there. And for the button itself here, so as you can see, the button that should be having a very gentle design here, and the same thing gonna be also coming up. So we're gonna provide a border 0, bg transparent, text baby shop black, and whenever we hover, text should be baby shop sky, and the hover effect gonna be the both buttons should be having the same contradiction. Okay, cool. Now the quantity, I'm going to keep it separate, same, or you can just simply make that a font we can make the medium, and the text should be small text. I think that's cool. Or you can just make that LG text. I'm gonna just keep it as a base right now. Okay, so now we are happen to be have that, right? Now we need to do two certain kind of scenario which can handle a lot of parameter, right? So what we can do, we can increase the quantity, we can decrease the quantity whenever we are going to click on that, right? So first of all, we need to have a certain kind of attention here. Add to cart, we're gonna bring it later. Authentication, we're gonna bring it later. But right now, we can at least do some a certain kind of things which can make our application scenario in a better perspective. So the first one over here, as you can see, we will just combine a two value here. So the first one gonna be decrease, which need to be decreasing the value, and the second one going to be the increase whenever we are going to adding the value. So these two action going to happen. So we need to decipher, like we need to create that two action. Right now we doesn't have that action. So let's go copy that. So as you can see, the same function, handle increasing quantity and handle increasing quantity. So that's the handle quantity change. So one getting the decrease, one getting the increase. So the simple one function which gonna handle in the both circumstances, right? So now this const, that should be the function, and of course we need to define the type here. The type should be let's say it's gonna be coming as an increase and decrease. Okay, okay, so this value going to be, as you can see, the auto-tune is just passing us the value here. Of course I need to provide another. Okay, So what's actually is doing is providing two type. One type is getting increased, one type is getting decreased. Then if the type is increased, it's set quantity getting the previous value and then adding, like making passing one. And for the quantity, for else if if it's not increased means it's decreased, or you can make the else if quantity value. Then it's getting the math.max 1 and the prev minus 1. So it's just minusing 1. If we go over here, as you can see, that's it. So it's plusing, it's minusing, so the value is doing its work perfectly. Now another one which need to be combining it all together. So after the div itself here, we need to have another button. Okay, not here but here. After that div, we should be happen to have get another button, and that button gonna be a passing that it should be providing that add to cart. So this is the button which gonna handle all the tasks regarding that add to cart properties, right? So the button variant, we're gonna provide the variant as a outline variant, and also for the class name, we can provide some of the class name which will make our button looks little bit better and clean. So the flex one, padding y, so in the flex one, it's gonna take the all available space. As you can see, that's the one which we are talking about. So that's the button also. And then the border baby shop text light, hover border baby shop sky, hover bj baby shop sky, hover text baby shop white, text base font medium. And also we can pass simply the hover effect, so the effect gonna be in a very smooth transition. Okay, now this is the time which we need to provide a lot of other parameters also, but we didn't do it yet because we need to work on that of our store setup and others. We're going to come back it later on. Now we have that product actions, right? So after the products actions, we need to have our price view. So this is the price view which gonna be contradict with that. So we need to combine on that price view parameter. So after that product actions, let's go here. We're gonna provide or we can just provide a comment here. So that should be a price view. So in the comments, we're gonna have to have another div, then another div, then it should be coming as a price formatter. In the price formatter, first the amount should be the discount amount, so discounted price, right? So this is the price it will be coming as the first instances, and after that another price formatter gonna be rising on there, and the price formatter gonna be no, the first one gonna be so the second one gonna be the discounted price, the first one gonna be, let's say, product dot price, right? So this is going to be the first and second instances. So we're going to create some of the very legitimate design over here. For the first one, as you can see, the text baby shop light, line true, font medium, text LG. So you can see the price is getting the extra, the more price over there, and that is the reduced price. So that's the design which we implemented over there. So I think it will just do its task. I think it's by default getting the red. Okay, so this is the combination here, but the design is not so accordingly correct on here. So we need to provide that one flex, item should be center, and gap should be 2, text should be small. I think it will not mark on that. So the text gonna be the text how it is. Okay, cool. And I believe if we go over here, we can simply make that space y should be 5, so it's gonna be happen to be have a space particularly with all other variation and values. Okay, so now as we have that, so we have the price formatter div done. So now we need to provide that badge and star, so we need to create that, and right now this one we're gonna just combine on that in a very good manner. So we're gonna have a star icon. You can just create it as an array, then provide that value, so getting the 0 reviews. Right now we make it hard coded, but later on we're gonna combine on that, especially whenever we're gonna building the turbo repo. There we are having all the scenario working perfectly fine. You're gonna see that we're gonna get the code if it's not added on that particular project over here which you're building. We are going to share the code for you, so you can have that, you can see how we implemented that one also. So the class name should be flex, item should be center, gap should be 5, and justify should be between. And again, I'm really sorry, so many things we are not combining it all together, because as you see, this project also happen to be have the mobile applications which you're going to be building using the React Native. So there's a lot of things to cover, so we cannot go directly on and on with a lot of other like in-depth parameter. So now as we have that, so we can see now we also need to happen to be the user view. So the user view here, so after that particular div here, so the reviews after the div, we're gonna have that user view, and on the user view we just gonna be providing that how many users is just viewing right now. And again, those things is coming up on that particular the turbo repo version, all are embedded, especially happen to be in the server, not making like that, but we're gonna come back to it, no worries. So after that portion also we need to provide another positioning here. We're gonna provide a button here, and also we're gonna happen to have the icon here, and also we're gonna have that share to icon here, and that is saying that buy now button which gonna be click and you can start buy now, like the quick buy, you can ask the questions, and also we're gonna have to have the share. So this is the one which you can see ask question, ask questions, and it should be not ask question again, should be it should be okay. That should not be, that should be share. Okay, that's the one which need to be done there. I think something have to be there. Okay, so now after that we should have, because as you can see this is just a static part over there, so I'm not providing that much up to a scenario for you, so you know how to just grab it. So I'm gonna just get that another one which gonna be coming as the delivery part. And on the delivery part, as you can see, we are happen to be getting a two separate statement here. One is going to be a track icon, another should be the box icon. These two things getting together estimate delivery and free shipping and return. So this is just combining on that to providing a real-time data, so the user can understand how and when it gonna be overflowing over there. So this, you see the same systematic component which gonna happen to be like an scenario which is really entertaining. Now after that delivery segment here, we should be happen to be another segment, and the segment call for the payment image. So if we just directly go here, as you can see, we need to import the image from the asset. So this will show the payment parameter and the images. So as you can see, this is the one which we are looking forward to. And now after also passing on that, so this is the payment which we're talking about. And after passing the payment, as you can see, before finishing the container, we should be happen to be have another div which gonna happen to be that product description, right? So this the product description layer, it gonna be there, which will get the description, which will get the about the brand, which gonna get the reviews, which gonna get any questions arising there. So this is the combination which we are going to create right now. So what we're gonna do, instead to creating over here, we also gonna make that another component which gonna be product, let's say description.tsx rfce. So that's gonna be product description. So let's go over here. I think action is, I'm gonna close it. So this is the one which gonna handle the entire statement. So it should be product description. So this is gonna be coming up right there, and the product description also going to be combining that particular itself to just to have to be passing this style over here to make that the max width screen axle. You see the small variation here, and then it's gonna be getting the Babymart white, shadow the baby shop black, and others. So the problem is that the description which gonna happen to be grab that particular tab and others, so we need to make that another separate positioning. So we need to provide that product, and the product should be the product. So because we need to make that entirely as a use client flag, because the click event going to be happen over there. So right now, as we are happen to be getting the product here, so we need to define that, let's say interface should be coming as the props, and the props gonna be taking the product, so should be product, and the product should be our product from the types, and we can simply grabbing the product from the props. That's it. Now this one happened to be grabbing the active tab over here, because we're gonna have 4 tabs. The first tab itself, it's gonna be happen to be the description, which is going to be active by default. Whenever you're gonna come in any project, any product, you can see that should be the active variation here. So this is gonna be active. So what we will do, we're gonna create that a particular instances of a tabbing value and others. So I'm gonna go over here, and then it should be happen to be, let's say, can have the tabs, and on the tabs here it's gonna have that tab list. So the tab list, and make sure you're importing from the component itself. So that's gonna be happen to be the tab list. So the tab list going to be have a particular 4 tab parameter. So the tab list going to have a 4 tab trigger. So as you can see, I need to import that at the top. So that will combine 4 tab trigger. So the tab trigger, one gonna be the description, one about the brand, reviews, questions. So these 4, it's gonna combining it all together before putting that everything in top to bottom to be in action. So weight should be, let's say, gonna provide the full weight. And right now for the tab itself, tab class name width, I'm gonna provide the full width so that it can push later on. And also for the tab itself, the value should be, let's say, it gonna first get the active tab value, and on value change should be the set tab parameter, and the default value, not the default check, the default value should be description. As you can see, the description value is already selected, but with the design it should not be like that. So in the tab value, you can see we're gonna provide the design, we're gonna make it a grid which should be full, so that it's gonna compress it all together. And then we're gonna make that grid columns of 4, as we made the grid should be 4 column over there, and BJ should be baby shop white, white, and then height should be, we're going to provide a 16 of height, and then we're going to provide a border should be baby shop text light. So baby shop text light, and then rounded should be axle, padding should be 1. Okay, so we are happen to be get that design, but why those designs not implementing? I think did we have something over there? Okay, so the tab trigger, okay, data, the active one, yeah, okay, we provide that to be inactive to be sky. Okay, anyway, looks good. So right now, as we have the tab list, right, so we need to provide the data itself, right? So after the tab list here, so when the tab list is done, we need to have another div, then we're gonna have that tabs content, right? So the tabs contain, the first contain gonna be an h3 contain, which gonna be, let's say, product description. So that's gonna be our first initial value, and the value should be, let's say, gonna be combining of that description. So whenever the description gonna be there, that will come to in place. So here put a class name, text should be LG, font should be, let's say, we're gonna make that medium, and the text should be baby shop black, and also gonna be margin bottom of 3. And after that, a p tag, which gonna happen to be get that product dot description. If it's not there, means if it doesn't have the description, then we're gonna make that no description, or description available, or available for this product. That's it. So now we have the description, so it's available. I think why it's not taking max width screen, I think we can just provide a width of 4, no need to provide the max width, but still it's not getting that. So I believe we need to manually inject something in the tabs. Let's say we can particularly go in the tabs, and so we have text, we have the flex column property, we have the tab list value. Let me just try if I put my previous value, is it getting that? No, it's not getting that, so means it's not from here. Okay, I'm going to keep it as it is. Okay, not from here, but certainly it's not getting itself reveals the description. Okay, should aligned. Okay, I think I know how to fix that. So if we go in the p tag here, put a class name, text should be baby shop black, and with the 70% of opacity. Okay, little bit providing on that darker state. Now over here, put a class name. Margin top should be 5, so that it's gonna providing a gap over there. And the BJ already whatever the background color is there, so the border should be border baby shop text light. And then we're gonna make that a 30% opacity over there. Rounded should be Excel. Okay, so this is the one which, yes, rounded should be Excel. We need to provide also a padding should be 5, right? Okay, now the problem is that if we go here in the product description, why we are not getting the full width? That is the problem. Is we can decipher and debug why we are not injecting to grab the full width, right? So this is the okay, because of the container, because the container happen to be have the full width instances, because the container have those parameter to be embedded. So what we can do, I'm gonna cut everything. I'm gonna take another div, and then I'm gonna pushing that everything within the div parameter, because previously we used to do that, but I forget because I thought we are not requiring to have that. So this class name, I'm gonna just impose it here, and I'm gonna remove the class name from the container, as it's not recurring right now. Yeah. Okay, so that whenever we are providing on that, so let's see. So this is the first div itself. Okay, so we need to remove because that will be coming the bottom of that particular div. Okay, yeah, now it's okay. So that should be removing from there. So as you can see, now it can have all the entire statement. Now if you go in about, if you go in reviews, if you go in questions, so now we need to provide those data by which we can combine it all together. So we have the product description, the similar parameter gonna work on that. So I'm gonna have to have that another tabs content. So let's just go and bring those content here. So in the tabs content, as you can see, for the product brand, we need to like getting to learn more about the brand or no brand about is there. So if we go here, you can see the Pampers LLC. If we go reviews, so customer no reviews yet. If you have the questions, we get the questions value. So now our application layer is getting a little bit better. So if we directly go any of the pages or any of the products, so we're gonna go in that product, you can see that is working perfectly. So it means you can now add your loader, you can add the other parameter to make it better, right? So now our first instance is to be starting to build up our segment here. First of all, let's just check if our packages is installed or not. Do you have the Justent? I believe we should have the Justent, but no, we didn't implement that one yet. So Justent, no, not installed. So what we need to do to initialize our store value, we're gonna use the Justent, and also we're gonna use the Justent's persist, and also we're gonna create a JSON storage using that. And to do so, we're gonna just simply open the Justent. So this is the website for Justents, and we will just go to click on the documentation. And I love to use the Justent because you don't need to use any wrapper particularly. Automatically it's gonna just embed it within your project, and that will be good to go instantly. So we're gonna just copy that, and let's go in my terminal, and from there I'm gonna take a new terminal here, and then let's go into cd into it should be client and npm I okay, too much full code. Okay, I think okay, it's get also comment. Okay, I think comment it will not make any sense, because comment it will ignore, because you see the npm comment. So I think that's good to go. So we have the Justent, and now what we need to do is that in the lib we're going to create a function, create a file which is store.ts. Now this is store going to combine our everything. Okay, so now let's say from there we will take that from justent. So let's say justent, and from the justent we're gonna create that create method, and also we're gonna import some other parameter, the persist from justent middleware, and also we're gonna happen to be that create JSON storage from the middleware. Now, if you're already building so many other projects with me, you know how we're gonna start and how we're gonna finish that things. You know how to set up that one. So I'm gonna go with some of that scenario on there. We're gonna create we're gonna build up the helper function pretty quick. So that should be, let's say, helper of function. So that will be helper function to map server card item to local formats, right? So that we're gonna do for our card, right? So first it's gonna be as a card server. So now first of all, there should be defining that card interface for the card server item. So every card product, what it gonna happen, it gonna happen to be a product ID, then gonna happen to be the quantity, which gonna be number in the product ID. Or you can see instead of product, you can also make that one as the name of product. So that's up to you. I'm gonna keep it the similar as previous one, so that every single product have underscore ID, which gonna coming from the MongoDB, which we are happen to be get the underscore ID, which is going to be string. Then we're gonna have the name is string, description gonna be string, price gonna be number. And I think pretty much you can clone that, or you can just copy that those type from that particular scenario from the repo, so that it could be easy for you. Then you're gonna have the price number, discount percentage, and you can also be welcome to have to be visiting their documentation, how it can start creating on that, then how you're gonna use that. And also you can just simply search over there. I think the search is working. Yeah, search, you can just use that persist. You can see whenever you go in the persist, it will just show how the data is, yeah, the middleware you're gonna use, and how it's gonna using similar pattern of the redux to be combining on that data value. Now then we're gonna have the price gonna be number, discount percentage, stock, and average rating, the number, image, which going to be string, category string, and every category gonna have ID name, image, category type, brand having the string, and then ID name and the ratings. Then whenever, see, in the product, this is the normal product of our database, which is gonna coming from the MongoDB, but it doesn't have a quantity in the product, right? So whenever we're gonna extract that product, the quantity number, we're gonna keep adding the quantity. If it's the first product, gonna be adding it the first time. If the next time, we are just gonna adding the quantity value, right? So this is the one of the interface which is required for us. Then another interface which gonna be coming the interface. So let's go, it's gonna be getting that cart a product with quantity, the quantity gonna be a number. So this is pretty much similar of those things. So the cart, we are setting two separate positioning. The server item gonna handle the item which gonna be happen to be in the MongoDB, which gonna be coming, because see this product. So whenever we are gonna I'm gonna just sign in right now. So let's say sign in with that, and once I'm signing in, you're gonna see okay, login failed. I think this is not the correct one, so I'm gonna just go with that. Okay, I'm gonna go with this one, and then I'm gonna go with my password. So let's try this one. As you can see, we are happen to be grab that. You see the one product in the cart, it's supposed not to be there, right? Okay, I think some of the local storage may be still on my side. So if we go in the cart, yeah, you can see. So this is the value over here. When I'm logging, you see it gonna extract the data in the database, right? So that is what actually is doing, because that's the server product data it's gonna provide there, and that should be the local value here. Okay, so now we're gonna make that map item to the card. So that would be a tiny function which gonna provide us a const map item to the card, and the item should be the card server item and also the card product with quantity. So in the product, we are providing the product ID, the item product ID.id. So the product providing the name, description, price, discount percentage, stock, average rating, image, category. So just you can post a video, or you can just make it a slow play mode, and then you can rewrite that everything, because if I type one and one, you know, it's gonna kill a lot of time for you people and also for me. So now after that, we're gonna happen to be the category, happen to be the brand, and the quantity. So this is the getting we are get that map card item to cart. to the product, right? So now after happen to be grabbing that value, we need to also provide the interface. So this is basically a lot of interface gonna be coming here. I'm gonna bring back all of this interface all together, or you can just use a separate file to combine the interface value, right? So this is the interface for our user. So the user is going to be having the ID, name, email, avatar, happen to be the role, address, and address going to be happen to be an array of address, and every single address going to be happen the ID, street, city, country, postal code, or its default value. Then we are having the user state. We are having that auth user. We are happen to be the getting the auth token, which going to be string or null, and is authenticated, like this user is authenticated or not. That could be also happen to be as a boolean value. Either it can be authenticated or it cannot be authenticated. We have update user function. We have set auth token, logout user, verify auth, load user data, and register. So every single scenario you're gonna be updating from that user state. Then of course it's gonna be a promise as Vite, because we're gonna use the asynchronous way to set it in our local storage as well as to our database. Then we happen to be the card state interface, and every card going to happen to be have the card items, which gonna be an array of product. Then the card items with quantities, which gonna be happen to the product, and then the quantity is loading gonna be boolean value. We're gonna have to have the add to card function, remove from the card, update card. Now this is just we're defining the type, not the function itself. It's just defining the typing value, because without the proper type we are not gonna get the proper actual value ratio or the benefit of using the TypeScript. Now from that update card from quantity, clear card, set card items, get card item quantity, is in card or not. So that's the combination gonna be a boolean value. Sync card from server also gonna be a function. Then we're gonna have the order state, of course, that should be coming as an order. So we doesn't have the order. So let's just go to our order API. So we will create we are just gonna grab a simple function here. I think orders, or we can of course we should be having the orders API, and then the same API we can use that. So I'm gonna just create that order API.ts, and the order API should be happen to be have that interface, which going to be, let's say, order item. So I'm gonna just provide that here, order item. I'm going to just define the interface here. Later on we will be coming here. So the order item, as you can see, that's the order which we are going to grab from the order API. And every single order, what actually is happening, you can see we have the ID, we have user ID, items, total, status, shipping address, payment intended ID, Stripe session ID, paid at, updated at, created at. Now here is little bit less, but right now which we are working with the turbo repo, that's having much more of that. You're gonna see, I'm gonna drop the video very soon. There you're gonna see what's much, because we're gonna maintaining the history every single time. Like every single order we're gonna have the packer, call center to confirm the address and confirm the order. We're gonna happen to be have the packer to pack the order, delivery man, and accounts to receive the payment from the delivery man, or the online payment. Then we are also happen to be the other, like the in charge and all. So this is gonna be a quite fantastic build whenever we're gonna transferring into turbo repo. Stay tuned, you're gonna get the code, no worries about that. So now here we're gonna getting the store, we're gonna getting the orders as an order of array. Is loading gonna be boolean value, add order gonna be a function, update order, load orders, get orders count, and clear order. See, all the tiny things we're gonna use that together, because we need to combine that with our server, we need to combine that with our local storage. We have the wish list state, which is gonna happen to be get the wish list items, and also the wishlist IDs, add to wishlist, remove from wishlist, set wishlist items, and also the clear wishlist, is in wishlist. That's all. The currency gonna be having the code, name, symbol, and rate for the currency parameter, because if you go over here, as you can see, we can simply change the currency. So that's the one which we are gonna maintaining by using the state over here. Then the currency state gonna be the set selected currency string, and the currency is gonna be the currency array over there, set currency, get currency, and convert price. So now this is, we just provide the value over here, the types, right? So first one, the first state which we're gonna create is our user state. If we create one, then you can understand how to create the other. So we're gonna just simply make that export a const value, and that should be use user, not the user, use user store, right? Use user store, and that user store gonna be happen to be getting the create value, and the state gonna be happen to get that user state, right? So that's the value we're gonna use, and that's a pretty simple functional value over here. Then we're gonna return from there indirectly. Then we're gonna use the persist value to set the data to get the data, right? So we are gonna use the persist. If it doesn't use the persist, it will not save in real time. And after like get set parameter, we also gonna have another variation here, and the variation is gonna combine another property which gonna be named, and then gonna be user storage, and the storage should be getting that to be our create JSON storage than the local storage. So this is the persist value which will happen to be have there. Now we need to provide those function, right? So now as we have the type script, you can see it's crying yet if it doesn't have the proper type or proper type safety parameter. Of course it's gonna cry. So now as you can see, if we're gonna type over here, you can see the auth user, we know what it could be. By default gonna be null. You can see auth loading, so should be auth loading. Auth loading is not there really. It should be there. Okay, auto loading. Okay, I think it's not defining in the typo. So where the user typo, user typo, auto loading should be the boolean value. So right now if we come over here, so let's say gonna be auto loading, and that should be false by default. And also gonna be coming, I'm gonna just provide that some of the parameter, and then also it gonna be coming as an auth token, so auth underscore token. So the token itself, it's gonna be using that cookies, right? So the cookies gonna be coming to be JS cookies, right? So we're gonna use a package over here. If we go in that our not over here, but if we directly go in npm, and if we just paste that one, the JS cookie, so that's the simple a tiny bit of utilities function by which we can really get the cookies here. So that's the one which we're gonna use, and you can see it's a 14 million per weekly download. It's a very good package and very stable package, so we can use it perfectly. And we make sure whenever you're gonna using any of the packages, you need to see the dependency value, you need to see the parameter, because right now so many vulnerabilities is happening around site, so you need to be very careful whenever you're gonna use the package. So right now we're gonna use that cookies, so let's grab the cookies from there. Cookies is not importing, so we can simply go at the top. So let's go at the top, we're gonna import it. So let's say import, that should be cookies from JS cookie. Okay, okay, what is that? It's not declare, it's not where we install that one. Yeah, I think if we go back in our package, so we should be happen, yeah, JS cookie, right? So why is not showcasing here? Is it a type parameter or other problem over here? So type any, could not find a declaration file for module JS cookie. Implicitly has any type, really? JS cookie should be okay. You're gonna find that. First of all, we're gonna directly go on there. Then later on, we I think any declaration is really require or not. We will see. We'll see. So first we're gonna just go with the cookies. So later on, if we still the error is persisting, we will see to fix that. So cookies dot should be get value, and the get value could be auth token or it can be null. So I'm gonna just bring back the all other parameters. So right now after that parameter, we're gonna happen to be have that is authenticated like value. If the cookies dot get auth, the if the auth is there, should be the it is authenticated. The update user gonna be getting that auth user and the user, and if is authenticated should be true whenever we are going to get the updated user. And also we can need to provide that set auth token. The alt token going to be a set as itself. Okay, I think instead of making that mambo jumbo, because as you can see, as you know that everything should work properly, I'm gonna just bring back every single function, then I'm gonna explain to you in a bit. So let's go back here and clearly got everything, so that you know there is no error, everything working perfectly. Yeah, there is other API, use API and others. We're gonna grab it one by one, but it's a long list of data as a long list of parameter. We're gonna fix that. You see also cookies error is gone. It just happened to be, I think whenever I'm gonna reload it, gonna be disappear for sure. So right now what we are going to do is that we're gonna happen to have that use user store, which gonna maintain our user productivity within our application. So if we see in a clear way, we have auth user null, auth loading should be false, auth token gonna be getting from the cookies, and if the auth token is there, okay, otherwise it's gonna keep null. And is authenticated value, if we have the cookies dot get auth token, then the value going to be is authenticated, means it's gonna be true, otherwise by default it's going to be as false. Now we're gonna have the update user. Update user gonna be the set user. It's gonna set the user as auth user, going to be the auth user, and then auth user going to be set as the whatever the user we're gonna receiving, and is authenticated can be true. So whenever you're gonna updating the user, we should have the value. And also you're gonna have that set auth token. In the parameter, it will get the token, and if there is the token, we will get the cookies.set, and should be the auth token, and the token expires in 7 days, and secure and process.env.node.env production is that should be the secure, and the same site should be lax, and the set auth token should be the token, is authenticated should be the true, and set I need to provide that load all user. I think that's going to be set timeout, so load all user, so that should be what it's saying. Cannot find load all user, is not finding of their data. So I think we need to provide that load all user. So what I need to do is that I'm gonna below of that function, we're gonna just provide that load all user. So as you can see in the load all user data, so not load all user, it should be the load all user data. So now if we come back here, I think we should be happen to be grab it properly. Yeah, so that's the loading all user data. So whenever our token is okay, it's gonna loading all user data. We should be having that 150 millisecond for the timeout, and else the cookies remove our token. And if there is, so means if we have the token, we're getting the token data, we're setting the user, we are grabbing all our user data. Otherwise we are making that removing the auth token and putting the user as null. Now what's gonna happen to be have there in load all user data? Still we are in the user, right? So in the load all user data, we're gonna happen to be get the token, which gonna be as a string. Then we're gonna have that promises, and we're gonna make an asynchronous function here. So you're gonna use the try catch value. So if we have the error, we're gonna just providing the fail to load wish list. So we're gonna loading separate data. We're gonna loading for the get user wish list data, which we happen to be get our wish list API, and also the wish list response, which gonna also get user wish list, which using the token. And if the wish list response is success, we're gonna use that use wish list store. Otherwise you're gonna get the get state, and then also the set wish list IDs, which gonna providing that wish list. So we're gonna come back later on as we are happen to be grab a lot of scenario. So right now after that like happen to be get the token, we set the token. So after the token, we're gonna also have to have that load user data, right? So in the load user data, as you can see, we need to provide that user data, right? So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna combining everything together so that it will really make a meaningful induction here. Otherwise I need to go back and forth with a lot of other data parameters. So I'm gonna just go and pushing that things together. So we're gonna happen to be have the currency, we're happen to be have the load user data, we're happen to be have the use wishlist store, and now we can go with that our use order store. So right now we're gonna just moving forward to have that. Now as you can see, we happen to be okay, that's the use card store. Where is my use store? Really, where we grab that. Okay, I think I miscapsulate on that. I forget to copy this one, so should be grabbing the other one. So before that, it should be this one. And again, I know this getting messy, but you have the code to go by to make things better, and that you can make understand very much good way. So now for the load user data is happen to be get the promise. Now get user wish list. Now wish list also we're gonna create a separate API of the wish list. We're gonna have to have the API for the wish list. We're gonna have the address API. We're gonna have the auth and card API and other API which already created. So I'm going to bring back those API. So this is the wishlist API, right? So in the wishlist API, what actually we're doing, we're getting that API base URL, which gonna coming from the localhost 8000/API. Those are the interface for the wishlist response props and the wishlist products response, which gonna having the success products message, then happen to be have to get that add product to wishlist. So this is the function which are gonna add a product to the wishlist viewport for the local storage and also for our server. Now over here, getting the asynchronous function, getting the product ID token, as then we're gonna getting the response from their fetch API based URL, means we are talking to our directly on the localhost 8000 API or whatever the production API we are providing there. Then we're getting that wishlist.add, we are getting the post method and the header contents, we are providing that product ID. Every time whenever we are going to adding those product, like if you see over here wishlist, whenever you're gonna click, you see that product is saving to add it in our database, add it in our local storage, and this is the API which providing the data to be coming and in so far. So that's how we are gonna adding to our database using that our API. Then if the response okay, as you can see, not okay, then providing the error failed to add in wishlist. If we have the data, we're gonna provide that response to JSON, returning the data. So whenever that's that one getting the add to wishlist, then also the remove from the wishlist, you see getting the product ID, also the token, because we need to check if user is there or not. So then we are also happen to be get that wishlist/remove, and the method gonna be as a delete method, and then we're gonna happen to be get that application JSON if authorization barrier, if there is a token, then you're gonna getting the product ID if response not okay, providing the error. If the okay is there, then we're getting the data. And then also we're getting the get user wish list, and that wish list gonna providing that our wish list API, and then we're getting the data from there, we're providing the data itself directly, and also get wish list products. So that's the one which gonna providing entire wish list product scenario for us. And of course, you can find out all the links variation in the wishlist route. Here you can see get user wishlist, add, remove, product, clear. So that's, you see the wishlist /products, which we are talking about here. That's also going to be coming directly from there, not where is the wishlist. So that's the wishlist API. So as you can see, wishlist /products gonna be providing us the products, and as you can see, we're getting the products ID directly on the post method, then we're receiving the data and returning the data. And then the clear wish list, gonna getting that wish list clear, by which we are clearing the entire wish list product. If response is okay, we're just returning the empty data which gonna be coming from the wish list property. So this is the one which gonna using that. I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger as we are talking a lot more over here. I know it's getting complicated, but if you type it properly, whatever I'm showcasing, it gonna work, or you can clone it and then testify on that. It's gonna work perfectly, as I'm gonna test it here directly also. So now load user data. As you can see, we're getting the get user wishlist data from the wishlist API. We're getting the use wishlist store from the store, and then wishlist response, getting the get user wishlist, providing the token, and if the token response is success, we're getting the use wishlist store.get state and set user state with IDs that with list response dot wishlist. If we're having the error, we're providing the error. Otherwise, we are providing an asynchronous function. Then providing the use card store, which gonna coming directly from the store. And of course we have that card store right here. We're gonna coming back to it later on. So on that we are grabbing that our card store, and then also use card store dot get state. We are also sync card from with server. If we having the error showing the error, then we have the use order store here, which gonna combining the order parameter and also the set order store get state. We're gonna loading all the users according to the token. Means we need to be have the user, and also that user need to be authenticated for sure to grab that data. If we have error, we're gonna providing the invalid token error, and then also getting the cache error for this to verify auth error, or getting the cookies auth remove auth token and others, because everything is still we are now still in user. You see that a logout user, so that's gonna be combining all things. So this is the promise, this the getting the load user data. Right now we are happen to be get the load like logout user. So whenever we are logging out the user, we are removing everything, right? We are whenever we are logging out, we are clearing that user data, user wish list. We are clearing that user card store. We are clearing the user order store. You see the clear orders. We are verify the auth, and you see if we have the token, we're gonna getting the current state, and also we are getting the authenticated value. So now we need to also get the auth API to provide our entire segment value. So right now if we okay await auth API, we need to import auth API, and from the auth API we are getting that auth profile. If the response data is okay, what we are doing here, we're getting that I think this is the coming as a verify auth. So that's the logout is done over here, also implementing on that. So now we're having the verify auth. So whenever we're calling that verify auth, we're getting the token from our cookies token. If there is no token, we are using the putting the user value as null, authenticated value as null, and keep everything user, auth user, and other null. And if we have the token, we're gonna get the current state. And if the current state dot use auth user, like if it also is authenticated value is there, we're returning from there, means we have the user. Otherwise, what we are doing, we are getting the response from auth API to get the auth profile, and in the auth API you can see we're grabbing that, especially for that API responses, we're grabbing the user property value over here to grab the user, which we already did. So as you can see, it's gonna provide our entire segments to be grabbing those scenario, how we can grab the user and how we can set the user accordingly. So now in our if the response, we are getting the data, right? So we're getting the set auth user gonna be response to data, authenticated gonna be true, token gonna be the token. So now in the try, whenever we are gonna have that property value, like we have the data, we're still again try catching the value. We are setting that wish list property, getting the wish list, getting the use wish list, which wish list response value property. So we're getting the wish list and setting over there. If error, there is the error, and then the card is stored. So whenever we're gonna get that verified user, we're grabbing that a wish list, we're grabbing that card, we're grabbing the order. So these three value you need to keep in mind. So whenever we are logged in, we are providing three different distinctive value. We're getting the user card, we're getting the user wish list, we're getting the user orders, and also that's going to be coming according to that user data, because that should be up to that value, right? So now this is the register function by which we are registering. If we have the like we have the auth API post, if the user is registered, and if response is not okay, providing the error, and after registration it will just directly redirect to the login, so we're not setting anything there. Now this is the handle property which using that user storage. So that's the value which gonna be coming for the user. Then this is the value for our card store. We have the card items with quantities is loading false. And now add to cart value is there. If we have the product quantity, we are getting the auth token from user. So user have the auth token. If auth token is not there, then throw of the authentication is required. We are happen to be get if we have the auth token, we're making the set loading as true. Then the card is true, gonna be happen to get the add to card, which gonna be coming from the card API. If we directly go over here, you can see in the card API we're importing that. Okay, so card API, this is the card API. And here we are getting that card item, we're getting that card response, we're gonna get that card, get user card, and that user card gonna happen to be response with that API, which gonna be the card which returning user card. Then also happen to be add to card value property, which gonna using the response the post method on the card by which we are providing on that. As you can see, as we have that user, you see the card routes, so all the card routes gonna handling all of those data action property, updating card and product ID and others. So this is the one which is finalizing the value property for the card. So I'm gonna go on the card again. Now this card value can update the card, can delete the card product, and also can delete the entire card. So all are actioning through the API. So this is the one which is handling. And for the add to card, if getting the response with that await add to card or token to maximize the user, then the product, then the product ID according to the product ID, then the quantity we are sending to the user. And if response is success, we're getting that card item with quantities, the response card dot map, we're getting the map card item to product, and then we're setting the value in the local storage. And if we error, providing the error, remove from card, again we're verifying the user token. If no token, authentication required, like without login nobody can see the card, and so far the delete it, right? But still we are valuing the restriction. Even somebody can hit through the postman or any other application, then they can access that, but that time token is required, so it will throw error directly there. Then if we have the token, you see the set loading is true, then we're rebombing the card. And then if response is okay, our token, product ID, everything success, remove, and the card should be empty. Also that using that update card item quantity, so we are updating the card item quantity. Here we are clearing the entire card, and you see again saying the token and clearing card with using the card API, and that's it. So the set card items, that's the providing value which is providing there. Get item with quantity, which actually providing the quantity is in card or not, because we are checking if that product is in card or not. Remember, whenever you're gonna come in here, if it's in card, you see the value gonna be right now is still not handling over here, but it's gonna handle especially in the turbo repo. Then sync card from with the server, so it will automatically sync card item with the server whenever you're gonna logged in. Again we're checking the token. If no token, you see the error gonna be coming here, otherwise gonna be loading through. Then it's gonna provide that get user card, so it will automatically require the user card from the card API. If the response okay, get card user card, and then you're setting the value with the card items with quantities, and the card items gonna get with that particular product. So now this is gonna saving with that card storage. So we have the two storage in our local storage. One is the user storage, another is the card storage. Then we are gonna happen to have the use order store. So this is the orders store. So as you see, order empty is loading false. Now that's gonna be coming the add order property, update order property, then it's gonna be also getting the load order property. So now this is the order API which need to be providing all other functionalities. So I'm gonna go directly in my order API. I'm gonna provide all of those data. So let's go back to our order API. I'm gonna pouring all the parameter here. So in order API, we're gonna also happen to be the similar contradiction over there, which gonna be getting that create order from card. You know, whenever we're gonna create the order, so it's gonna directly hit to our API to create the orders. It will be a post method, and as you can see, you're gonna providing the card item shipping address according to that. If response not okay, providing the error. If it's okay, you see we're gonna happen to be get the order data, which gonna be response to JSON. We can also put a console log just to see the order data, and you see the return. We're gonna provide the success true, returning that order data dot order, or according to the order data, whatever is returning from there. Then if error, we are providing that catch error there. Now get user orders. So this is the creating orders. This is the get user orders, providing the response. We're gonna directly fetch to the orders from the API, and as you see, we need to provide that user token. It means we need to be verified to get the user orders. Without the token, you cannot get that user order. If response not okay, providing the error. If it's okay, await and returning that response entirely. If error, we are providing the error. And also we're getting the single user, which is the get order by ID. And the same way we are using that orders / order ID, providing the authorization token. If okay, then providing returning that response as the true value. The delete order, again, we are checking that delete order. We are providing that orders.id. The method is actually a delete method. And in the headers, you see providing the barrier token and all. And if response okay, not okay, providing error. If it's okay, providing success true, message the order deleted successfully. If error, we are providing the error. Now this is the one, the update the order status. Every time the order status is updated, you see the update order status, getting the asynchronous formation, pending, paid, complete, cancelled. Now there should be some more in the turbo repo, because you're gonna have the packed value, delivering, delivered, and other value gonna be coming, the confirmed, address confirmed, so many things gonna be coming there. And getting the token, payment indent ID, Stripe session ID. So you can see the successful in order and getting the message. So we are directly providing the response for that API based URL and getting the orders value, providing the status, a put method to update the value, and in the body we are stringify the value, providing the status, payment ID, intent ID, and Stripe session ID. If not, it's okay, the response showing the error. If it's okay, getting the data and providing the success order and the message, which is going to according to the data message. And if we have the error, we are providing the error to go on that. So this is the benefit of getting have the order API. And auth API, where there is error, okay, API response is gonna be there. So I think that's supposed to be fixed. Okay, so API response. Okay, if we go in there, API response gonna get the value success tree. Okay, T token error API. Okay, we're gonna come back later on if we still persisting that. So now this is the order. So that's the where we are handling that use order store. So now getting all the update order, load orders. You see the how the function gonna be running order there, get orders count, and the clear orders, and getting the order storage. And the similar way, use your wishlist store, which we happen to be get beforehand. You see the function how the add wishlist going to work, remove from wishlist, and also the set wishlist items, set wishlist IDs and others. So everything gonna clear wishlist is in wishlist or not, getting the value of the wishlist storage. Then we are having that load all user data. So that's the user data going to be passing through a promise asynchronous way. We're getting the get user wishlist data and then going to be coming from the wishlist response, as is going to be happen to be get the get user wishlist, and according to the token we can provide that data. Right, without token we can't access those data. So after that also you're gonna grabbing that in another try, getting the use card store, use order store. So that's how we're gonna loading entire data, and if everything settled, all settled, and the promise is gonna be fulfilled. If error, we're gonna providing the error. And for the use currency store, which we are providing for the currency matter, the selected currency gonna be by default one as USD. Then we're gonna having the other currencies. We're gonna have the code of USD, US dollar, symbol dollar, rate 1.0, 1.0, then other code. So we're just manually manipulating over there, but as the things can be buying, we can use an API for the currency API. That's the tax, which you can do it by yourself. But in Turbo, we fixed this also, so everything gonna be in good to go. So we're gonna select keep the set currency as the currency. We also gonna get currency using that. We can also convert price according to using the currency. Then we're gonna have the currency storage. So this is the combination of happen to be grabbing all the entire user property. So now we happen to grab the store. So I'm gonna check if anything we're missing. So we have the address API, we have the API, we have the auth API, card API, and we have the configuration file, we have the orders API. We also need to be other things which is not right now, is store utils and others also going to be coming the validation which we have already in separate parameter. Also the other parameter can be accessed on that. So right now, as we are happen to be done those parameter and those segment over there. So first thing first, we're gonna go to try to create that our sign in, like to go directly in the register method to see if everything working perfectly right. If we can do the parameter to make the things can be done to be there. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create another directory over here, should be called name and auth. So then we're gonna have that, let's say sign in, and then page.tsx rafce, that should be our sign in page. So let's say rafce sign in page, so should be sign in. So now we have the sign in combination. So in the sign in page, we need also, we're gonna keep it as much as try to be conserved in that client side interactivity. So you're gonna provide a padding of 5, then md a padding of 10, so that's gonna be right there. Then instead of that, we're gonna grab it another div here, then we're gonna have to another div and h3 going to be get that as a sign in, and then have a p tag should be, let's say, login to access, and here in this pen Babymart. Okay, that's it. I think that could be better. So that's it. And now for at the top level of the div here, we can just simply passing okay, what we did here for the class name. Okay, we're gonna just simply providing that style, which is the max width of 4 XL. You can see, and bj shop baby shop white and padding 5, md padding 10, flex column, item center, rounded md, border should be coming as shadow. Class name text should be keeping center, and for the h3 for the class name text, let's say text should be 3 XL. There should be one text, and after that also font should be semi bold and mb should be 1. Again, if you have any consistency or any problem to understand this tool, trust me, just clone the repository, or you can copy paste from the repository to understand it better if you feel typing getting a lot of time to kill yourself. So because right now we have a lot of AI to go and combine that, so there is a very less time for people to go and embedding a lot of scenario by which we are creating the Babymart, because we are accessing a lot of data structure, right? So this is gonna be a very tiresome things to be done in that particular segment. Okay, so after that, the p tag gonna combine, I think p tag gonna combine nothing. In the span tag, we're gonna make that text as baby shop sky, so should be sky, and also font should be medium. So that's gonna be combining it all together. So login to access Babymart. So now after that, we are gonna be creating another function. So let's go as it gonna be coming as an auth. So I'm gonna go in the common pages, and here I'm gonna create the auth. So here it's gonna be coming as a sign in. So sign in from .tsx rfce. So that's gonna be for that sign in. Okay, so we're gonna simply, after the div itself here, we're gonna grab that sign in from. Okay, so now this is our form which is gonna be coming up right there. So I'm gonna just concate it together. I'm gonna keep it side by side so we will understand what kind of changes we are actually making by so far. So now for the sign in form, that should be need to be as an according as a use client, because user will type so many values and others over here. So now over those segments, there should be some of the contradiction. And first of all, we need to provide that schema object to be defined, right? So as you can see, for the login schema object, so we need to get the zod here. So z from the zod. So okay, should need to be importing zod. So let's just import z from zod, and also that should be not okay. Why the error is concerning over here? What is saying here? Okay, anyway, it will provide the actual data, right? So later on we're gonna fix that. So in the login schema, we have that z.object, and in the object we're gonna setting that email, which gonna be coming as a string, and that if email is invalid email address. So if you know, if the email is not matching with that property, it should be invalid email address. The password, which gonna be stringify value minimum, the password must be at least 6 characters, and the terms accepted, gender literal, true, error map, you must accept the terms and policy. So here what actually is meaningfully converted there, I'm gonna just log out from here so that I can show you what's actually going to happen. So if we go over here, we need to make that true, otherwise we can't, you see, and nothing, even we make password, we can't access. So that's the one which gonna be coming up. So let's go back there, and now after that, let's say we have that property. So now we can also providing the type value properties over there, which gonna be the login from and z.infar, and that gonna be passing that login schema. And over here we need to have a separate value property. First of all, we need to grab the state value property. So the to state, which I'm going to make a little bit bigger so it can be side by side. So we need to get that use state property. Also we need to get that use router from the next router. We need to also get that use user store. So this value is going to be coming here. Okay, use router, I think okay, it's not gonna be coming next router, it should be coming from the next navigation. Okay, so need to be importing from there. So now we should be having that loading, set loading, or is loading, or set is loading. It's gonna be a boolean value. First by default it's gonna be as a false value, so we will make it true whenever you're gonna infer those so many other property. You're gonna have the show password, set show password. So in that value, if we try something, let's say I'm gonna type in some value, I can show it, right? So that's the one gonna be indicating on that by default. Then router, you're gonna be use router, you're gonna get that set token, set auth token, update user from that use user store value. Okay, so now the from value itself, we can provide that property value here. So in that property, we're gonna happen to be get that, we're gonna use that use from hook, and also you're gonna use that z resolver, and the resolver gonna be coming from that resolve like the hook from there. So I'm gonna just grabbing that, so that's the one which gonna get that zot resolver from hook from resolvers /zot. So now we have the login form, and in the login form we're using the use hook from, so that in the verified property gonna be there. We're gonna get the login schema, and the login schema gonna have that entire schema property, and then we're gonna getting the default values. Email gonna be an empty array, empty of string, password empty string, and the terms accepted by default you're gonna keep it as true. So you can see a user can easily go and access on that, right? So right now we need to bring back our from property. First you're gonna create the from, right? And there is the motion property here. You can see if you load, you can see how those things gonna intercept it, like it's gonna be. So we can use the motion here. So instead of directly embedding there, we can just simply use that motion.div, and we can import the motion property directly at the top. So should be import gonna be coming motion from framework motion, right? So in the motion value, we will provide a just a very slick value property. You know, it's gonna be coming from top to like bottom to top. So by default initial value it's gonna be y20, so it's gonna be in vertically 20 lower, and image gonna be 1, opacity 1, y should be 0. So it will not be visible, like whenever we click, you see it's gonna be just coming from the bottom to top. So that's one which we create using easy, and with full padding x gonna be 4. Now entire form we're gonna keep it using our card, so it should be within the card component. So let's say the card contained. So in the card contained, we're gonna have that our from, which gonna be coming from the components, and from that we're gonna have another from, right? So that destination gonna be there. So the from value it's gonna be that dot for from, so that will contradict our entire from statement. So you can see there is some kind of status value we are getting that. So put a class name which should be full weight, and shadow should be none, and border should be 0. We don't want to put border, so border should be 0. So right now we have the from value. So over here this from value we're gonna also make that space space y should be 6, so the value itself gonna be a 6 aside value over there. Now from there we're gonna have that from field, so the from field, so the from field gonna have to have the value, so I'm gonna just make a self closing, and the control gonna be, let's say it's gonna be a from dot control, and right now the first one, the name should be as an email property, and the render property, let's say the render value, so the render value going to be coming an object which gonna be getting by default as the field value property, and then we are gonna be running directly returning the value property here, and then we're gonna use that from item, so the from item, and from the from item getting the from level, and in the from level here the first one gonna be as our email, so the email. After the from level we also gonna get that from control here, so in the from control gonna be happen another motion dot div, and on that motion div we're gonna use that input value here. In the input we're gonna provide the placeholder which gonna be you at example.com, just to provide an idea what it can be done. Email type, it will be email, and disabled whenever is disabled gonna be whenever is loading is true, it gonna be disabled. And also the class name we're gonna provide that it is have some by default property, but we're gonna provide some of the class name which can make it looks little bit nice and clean structure, so that's gonna be. And after that also we need to enlarge field property, the field value, right? So that should not like that, field value, right? So this is the class name which gonna be the border grade 300, focus ring 2, focus ring indigo 500, and you see border 500, transition all duration 200. So that's the one which gonna be combining over there. So that's we have the email value. Okay, I'm gonna close it. We have the email value, and then we also happen to be get the other property, right? And the label, we can just distinct the label if we are looking forward to. So where is the label? I think that's the one which we can combine, so that's the label text. And I think this one not required, I'm going to go with the default value, whatever the value is providing. Yeah, that is fine. Okay, so right now we have the email property and the from control, and also it gonna be happen to have that the from message. Like if we have any error and other property, we can simply pass the message, the class name, the message text should be read of 500, and also text should be extra small. Okay, so this is the one which gonna be passing for our directly to go combined with that the component for the type of that email. Then we are going to have another one which is going to be grabbing for our password. So this is the password. You see the name is the password. In the rendering time property we are providing the label which is the password. Then the from control, similar motion. I think here we didn't provide the motion data, so we need to provide the data itself. So the from motion, I'm gonna go and provide that. So the first one, okay, yeah, this is the one. So whenever you're gonna get the scale 1.0 and transition 0 to duration, and here getting the password in the from control, getting the animation, and the input is getting the placeholder as the dot 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 text show password if there is the show password text, otherwise the password, and disable is the loading, and field getting the field value, and we are also getting a button to show off the password, so I off, and also getting the I. So this is the password value property which the button is providing that value. If we type something and if you can see it, you can also hide it, right? So now we also happen that from a message by which we can provide the message itself. Now we're getting the password, and after the password value we should be happen to get another value which can combine the value of the concatenation of that from acceptance. So now as you can see we are happen to be getting the checkbox for that. Of course we need to getting the components from there. Okay, checkbox. Now the checkbox itself, so it will be checked once the value gonna be entertaining over there, so the terms should be accepted. So the checkbox filtered value, what is there, value, or it can be false, or instead of false can be undefined. Okay, anyway, you're gonna see what kind of error is getting. So now the checked change is gonna be creating that field on change disabled whenever it's loading, and then in the from control we're gonna providing that I agree to the terms are not from there, should be coming from next link. And then if we can also view the privacy terms and privacy policy, you can see it can just directly open and go. Okay, so that's the combination for that. Now after that, once we are happen to grab it, so as you can see right now, we're gonna have another motion. So motion.div, and in the motion we're gonna have a button. So not this button, but actual button. Over here in the button, we will make that one should be, let's say, gonna be an span tag, gonna be happen to be a login icon, and then it's gonna be simply pass that sign in. So that's the one which gonna be there. So let's go in our motion tab parameter. We're gonna provide some of the class name over here, or the animation here, the scale and others. You see on C hover gonna be a little bit bigger. So now the button, we're gonna, the button type we're going to be a submit button, and also gonna be provide a class name which should be full, right? So now it's gonna take the entire display parameter. So I'm gonna just provide those things in a very similar fashion. Okay, what's the matter we did wrong? Okay, we have the class name. I think I have been, okay, this is the class name. Oops, why this auto correction is okay, you see, whenever I'm selecting is getting that directly, that's why I happen to be get the problem. Okay, so this is the same combination of that. So right now also, okay, cool. So right now what we need to do here in this span tag, we're gonna provide a class name. As you can see, we need to make that flex item should be center and gap should be 2. So this is the value by which it can be the sign in, but there should be another value by which you can see it's gonna provide that separate value parameter. Like we can combine that. If the is loading value is there, then it's gonna provide something, otherwise it's gonna provide this parameter. So I'm going to keep it here, and if it's providing the sign in, it's in the in this span tag, it's gonna be getting that loader to icon, and then it's gonna also saying that signing in, right? So right now I'm gonna just make it a formation here. So now for the class name, so class name flex item center gap should be 2. So now you can see that's coming together, and in this span tag loader here, put a class name, let's say animate spin, so that you can see it's signing in. So I think that is saving the purposes whenever it's gonna be making its loading parameter, right? So now we are happen to be grab those things, and also it's gonna be like the button gonna be a disable. We're gonna make it disable, like once we are doesn't having that accepted, like if we click that, you see button gonna be disable. So that's the one you can see, and also it disable, we don't want to be make that one as, or I'm gonna keep it, let it be, yeah. So whatever it is there, keep it like that. So now over here on that disable property, so after that especially finishing those card content, we should also be happen to be another portion here which going to be providing that card footer. Okay, so that's the value gonna be in that parameter. As you can see, we are happen to be getting that those things. So after the finishing the card content here, we're gonna just simply pass that the card footer, and in the card footer we're gonna have the value. You see that don't have an account, you can directly go in the sign up. So this is the value which gonna combine. So don't have an account, go sign up. And also we can provide another parameter here. So I'm gonna go and just getting those things here. So after that Vite, we're gonna happen to get the card description. So in the card description, we're gonna provide some more value property which can really make things nice. You see our address and other property which can really be cool on that. So I'm gonna keep everything together. So, or I think we can make it directly on that. Let's say gonna be flex column. I think flex column, and then we're gonna make that item should be center, and space y gonna be 4. Okay, you see, no, it's not. I think the sign up, okay, yeah, don't have an account. So this is the one putting the value property here. So this value justify center flex column need to be provided, yeah. And then I'm going to provide a gap of 5. Let's say gap of 5. Okay, now cool. So now what we're gonna trying to make a login function right now, so that we're gonna see if it's working or not. So we're gonna directly go in the from property to make the sign in instances. So let's go in the from. So that is our from here. We're gonna make that, let's say, on submit property value, and the from dot it gonna be handle submit function, and that function gonna name as on submit. We didn't create it, but it's gonna be like so. And also in the from value, everything I think cool. So now we need to create that on submit value, on submit functionality. So let's copy, let's go at the top, should be const on submit, and in the on submit value it gonna providing that, let's say, the data, and data should be that login form data. And also after that it gonna be providing that a promise. So let's say not like that promise, and the promise should be passing as a void. So should be passing as void, and then it gonna be coming as an asynchronous function. We're gonna get the data itself, and then we're gonna declare our functional property value here. So now we should be able to make things done. Now what we need to do, we in that on submit value property, first of all we're gonna make that set is loading as true. Then const success value gonna be coming from is equal to await. We're gonna make that login function not like that. So login function whenever we're gonna get the data, right? So now we doesn't have that login function. We need to create the login function. So on top of that function, we're gonna make that a login functionality to be created. And here it will be an asynchronous function where it's gonna take the data, which data gonna be a login from data, and the data itself gonna be creating a promise. So let's say we're gonna get that promise, and the promise should be getting to be grabbed as a boolean property, and then we're gonna just simply inject the function. Okay, so now here we're gonna make that try catch property value. So in the catch property, you see if we happen to be get the error, we're gonna provide that. So in the error we can provide the error here. So we're gonna just simply make we can log any error if it's happened to be there. So what's this is the first try we have, right? So we can just simply pass that. Let's say we're gonna make that console dot error. So we're gonna make that login field providing the error, and also we're gonna provide that toast dot error, then login failed, try again, right? And then we're going to make that return as false. So now after that, as we set back together, so now we can make that one in a very better and visualizable way. So now we're gonna go to create the login. So the const should be providing the response should be is equal to await, and we're gonna make that not directly fetch. Auth API you're gonna handle on that. Then we're gonna create direct auth API dot, we're gonna use that post method from there, and directly we're gonna use that /auth /login, right? So in that parameter we're gonna provide the data. So the email should be data.email, and the password not like that, pass-through should be password. So the password gonna be data.password. Okay, so these two we're gonna two things we're gonna provide. Now if we have that response dot success as we're gonna providing from the API, and we're gonna have that response dot data. If we have the two certain value, then we're gonna make that const. We're gonna like destructurize the get the token, and then we're gonna say it, and we're gonna do a lot of other things. We're gonna get that token, or we can just first get grabbing that should be coming from the response dot data, and on the data we're gonna get that token value. Also we're gonna get that user data, right? So these two distinctive value we're gonna get, right? And from there we're gonna make that, let's say, set auth token, which need to be coming over here, should be coming as token. And after that also we're gonna make that update user. So let's go update user, which is going to be passing as the user data. Okay, I'm gonna just log in successful, or we can just keep that. We're gonna handle it not here, but we're gonna handle it at the bottom, and then we're gonna make that return true, right? So now everything is good to go. We can return the true, and if we doesn't have that data layer here, you see, it can make the fail again. We can just pass that toast.error. So like that, there should be no messages here, so invalid. Or you can just make that like you can go with that. Let's say it should be login failed. Okay, that's it. So a login failed, and also it's gonna be passing that return not like the tree, should be return as false. Okay, so now we are gonna happen to be get the success from that login data. So if we have the success, like if we have the success, then what we're gonna do, we're gonna make that, let's say, a toast dot success, log in successfully, and also we're gonna make that router dot push. Okay, router dot push. Right now we're going to simply push in our home route, and also we can make that set is loading as directly as false. So this is going to handle predefined in a proper method. So let's just go and try. It can be failed because that's our first attempt. So I'm going to open the console just to be measure it in a proper way. I'm going to remove everything, and I'm going to go with my admin user, which already happened to be get in our database. If we try, okay, that should be true. If we try to sign in, voila, you can see we get the auth API where we get the card token, which is true. So everything is good to go. So right now, once we logged in there, it should be happen to get the data, right? So what I'm gonna do, because right now if I reload, I should be happen, no, it will not get. So now first of all, we're gonna go in our header. So let's go back to our header. So should be header. In the source admin client header. So in the client header, I think it should be coming within the user button. So we can now access the user button to check how we can consolidate on there, right? So now we can get that property value from there, should be coming from user store. And from there, we will get two value. First of all, we're going to get that is authenticated, and also you're going to get that auth user, not auth loading, but auth user. Okay, so this two value, we're gonna grab it from there. Okay, once we use that two value, you see that's the client side interactivity, because on that you need to make that use client. And the beauty of the Justin is that right now we are not using any kind of wrapper itself there, right? So now I'm gonna log that true data is authenticated, and auth user. So if we logged, you see the is authenticated is true, and we're getting the data. We're grabbing the user data address and others because it's a live database we connected. So we're getting everything. We're getting a role and others, so everything is good to go. So now we can use those data to show the data value. Right, so right now, as you can see, the link parameter or the welcome and sign in sign up method is whatever we are passing here. It can need to be relocated over there, right? So instead of that, we can directly putting, like, I'm gonna remove that. No need to remove that. We're gonna just put that like the combination here. So it should be similar of that. If the authenticated user is there, auth user/profile. So now if we click, it should be taking to me the profile. You see the user profile, but right now we doesn't have the profile, so it's just providing the error. And also we are gonna providing us two more variable over here. You see we are having the user icon. That should not be coming the case on that, because there you can also use that image from the next image. So image need to be coming from the next image, and also getting the next image, you see the missing width and height. So I'm going to provide the width of, let's say, 50, and height of, I think, 100 by 100 gonna be good. And also we need to provide that, you see the avatar, we are using that. So in the next config.js, we need to access to our database credential. So that's why we're just all right, we can go in the next line here, so we can just utilize that one here. So this is the remote pattern which we use that for the Cloudinary. I will use the another one, not like that. Should be coming to be another protocol. Let's just copy that protocol and then use that. So now we're gonna use that one itself. So that is my database credential. So that would be right here. Okay, that's the S3 bucket with Amazon, which we imported there. So now if we reload here, it should be able to see that. You can see the icon, it will be coming here. Okay, cool. So now also we need to provide one more property here, which can really be good on that. So this is the avatar which we are using. Now we also need to be, as you can see, the welcome message here. So we also need to be concat over here, which can make scenario a little bit better. So instead of the span, we can simply pass that. If I think we can use a div here, and then we can use that, not the span tag but the p tag. I think that would be good. So now you see welcome, and then if we click on there, it will automatically get that user forward slash profile page, so that it can, now we know that actually those things are working and it's really remarkably adapting on that. So what I'm gonna do in especially for that app, so as you can see in the app, I'm gonna create another, let's say that should be the user parameter, and then it's gonna be happen to be the user, and then another route, not route, gonna be a file, let's say profile page.tsx rfce, gonna be user profile. So should be profile page. Okay, it's safe. You can see right now we can directly come back to the profile page. So means our application layer is actually working, sign in form is working, and sign in is working. That's good to go. So now if we directly go in the profile, we can try something different. So let's go in the profile. In the profile, what we are gonna do, we're gonna try to log out, right? So that could be really a good scenario or a good segmentation of how things can be done. But we will do it. We'll do it. But right now, as for no, I think better if we can do it, because it should give a good credential to go on that. So I'm gonna use that. So let's say I'm gonna just add let's go in the pages. So that should be the auth. So I'm gonna keep it in the auth pages. So let's say profile page.tsx or fce, because we need to provide that as a client-side interactivity. So I'm gonna just create it as in a client side. So profile page. Okay, so in the profile page, that should need to be as a use client flag. Later on, whatever we can indicate on there, we will try our best to be indulging on that. So let's go button, and that button should be logout, and the button variant should not the variant. Okay, not this one. Okay, for the class name, padding should be, let's go just keep it 10 to make it looks better, and the variant should be destructive, not default, or destructive. Okay, so now in the logout button, so whenever we're gonna log out on that particular instances on there, it gonna be making that a logout scenario over here. So first of all, we need to be combining some sort of setup. So we're gonna make that, let's say const should be is loading, set is loading, so no need to grab those parameter. I'm gonna just make simply the state. Okay, now what we're gonna do in the button, if we have that login instances, like if we have that is loading and others, you see it gonna be loading and then providing that value, or you can say that login out. So instead of that, okay, we can simply pass in a span tag, gonna be, let's say, loader 2, and here gonna be login out, right? And the dot, okay, so it should be the dot, and we're gonna just provide a class name, animate spin. Okay, so now right now it will show nothing there. You see it's already there. Also you just make upside down, put a class name, flex item center gap 1. Okay, so login out button is working. Now I'm going to just keep it like that. So once we click on that, instead of providing on that, we're going to just simply make an logout function. So on click, that should providing that, let's say, an handle logout button property. It should be providing on that. So I'm going to make that, let's say, handle logout. Okay, so right now const handle logout, that should be coming also an asynchronous function here. So async, and here we're gonna make that set is loading, or you can just simply make that try catch property first, and also we can simply make that set loading should be true. Should be set is loading should be true, and also the finally we are not like that, finally gonna be set is loading as false. And if we have the error, we can just simply make that see the error here, logout failed, and also we can make that a toast dot error that logout failed, try again later. Okay, so now over here we're gonna try on that. We're gonna make that const response should be is equal to, it should be await, and then it's gonna directly make that auth API dot post method. Yes, and in the post method we're gonna make that forward slash auth forward slash logout, and over here we're gonna pass an empty parameter here. And now if that response dot success response dot success is gonna coming from there, we're gonna make this simply a toast, we're gonna simply make that logout user. We can simply, yeah, we can simply make that toast of success logout successfully, and then router. Okay, we didn't grab the router here, so const router should be equal to use router from the next navigation, and router dot push gonna be directly as home. Okay, we're gonna keep it in the home. Right now if we go and click, you see the login out is gonna be coming at home. So okay, as you can see, we made that and log out as a home, but still we are happen to grab because those are the property. I think I need to remove some of the caching from here. Okay, so make the cache removed. Okay, but still we are happen to grab it. Even we made that logout user, did we grab, okay, we made the logout. You see, we just simply it gonna be passing that it is not actually logging out the user because we didn't provide that user property here. So we need to explore that. So const, we need to grab the object from the value from that, let's say use user store. So we need to grab that, and from there we need to access that logout user, right? So that's the value we need to access. So whenever you're going to handle logout on that particular instances, we need to reconfirm, right? So if that we get the success, we will make that also the logout user from our local storage, right? So now if we go and click, you see it's done. So right now if we go directly here, if we try to use that our account, and then if we try, and you see we are here, if we try to log out, it's log out. So right now our main purpose is that to go and create the sign up page here. So as you can see in the auth, we have that auth directory here. We're gonna have that another one should be sign up, and here page.tsx. So rfce, that should be sign up page. So here we're gonna make that another form should be, let's say, sign up from.tsx rfce. So that's the form gonna be coming, let's say sign up from. Okay, so now this is gonna be a combining it all together that we should be able to grab to go and make things done in a pretty decent way. So in the auth, we can now would be able to create the sign up formulation and pretty much simple of the others like the way we create beforehand. So that one also gonna be happen to be great, grab the similar scenario. So if we go in our sign up page here, so I'm gonna close others, so close others over here. I'm going to just embed here. So this is the combination. Okay, what's the matter? Okay, let's just see. I think, yeah, we need to, I'm going to just combine it all together and just import that sign up from okay, I think we have extra div here. Okay, so right now we are happen to be get the sign up, register your email to access Babymart and others. So right now we should be happen to get a class name, and then padding should okay. So this gonna be combining. I remove one which should not be. So the first one itself is gonna be the middle one. Remember the one which we did before. So that could be the middle one. But instead of making things a pretty decent, I'm gonna wrap it with another div here. And the div it's gonna be put a class name, padding should be 5, and MD padding should be, let's say, 10. So that the gap is right there. So we have the sign up, register email to access Babymart, register your email to access Babymart, sign up from, right? So now what we need to do, we need to bring back all the functionality to be combined to create the sign up functionality. Now in a sign up component, what we can do, we can bring back all the setup the way which we started. So first of all, we will grab something called the defining the structure the way we did for the sign in parameter, so that it can go and align it all together. We can just simply get the result, and also we can get the data layer. So you're going to have that from data and others. So this is the combination. So the registration schema should be happen to be get the first name, last name, email, password, confirm password, and also the role. It could be by default going to be as a user, and the terms accepted. So we're going to keep it as that you must agree to the privacy policy and terms of use. And with the refined data, if the confirm password is there, it's not matched, should be that password did not match. So with the from data, we're going to keep everything as the register schema. So right now we need to configure also three other things, that what it's going to be to create that state for the loading, and also we need to get the router just to routing back, and also we need to grab our store from where we're going to get the register and other parameter. And of course, as we use that, we need to provide that use client flag, otherwise the error gonna be persisting alongside with that. So first of all, we're gonna go and bring back our setup. Now, what's how we did that beforehand? That could be the similar parameter of that. You see the sign in and sign up, that could be almost the same thing is right there. Just happen to be, you see the from, just some additional formats which going to be added, right? So in that div, we're gonna just go and align some of the class name here, which is gonna be a flex, and also the item center, justify center. We're gonna provide a weight of full. Then we're gonna also provide that motion dot, let's say motion dot div. So we need to get the motion at the top, should be import motion from framer motion. Now, as we have the motion, we also need to build some of the properties for that particular motion instances, which gonna be the opacity gonna be 0 by default. Whenever it gonna animate, the opacity going to be 1, and also you're gonna provide the y value as 0, having good transition, and the class name with full padding x of 4. Then now we need to provide our card, especially over here. Then we're gonna have that card content directly, as we are not gonna provide the title or others. Then we're gonna happen to be get the from here, which gonna also be coming from the components. Then we're gonna have a simple from property value, and in that property value we're gonna have a div, and then we're gonna create the from value, right? So overall, the first instances here, that dot 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 from value should be aligned it all together. Okay, the from value is not created, that's why it's not finding like it doesn't know from where it's gonna just go and bring back there. So what we can do, we can initially pass a from value here. So after this register parameter, we can just call that from value. So right now from value should be coming from that React hook from, and also you're going to get that result bar from that hook from. Now over here, what actually is resolving, we are providing some of the default values within that register. Schema property, we're going to have the first name empty, last name empty, email empty, password is empty, confirm password empty, role as an user, and terms expected as true. So now, okay, terms expected, getting to the Donald Trump parameter, the terms and condition. Okay, now we're gonna be making things in a pretty decent way. So let's just go put a class name over here. It's gonna be a full. We're gonna make that shadow should be none, and border should be, let's say border should be a 0. So no border available to be passing over there. Card content is the same, and for the form itself, put a class name. Space y should be, let's say, gonna be as a 6 value, and after that, as the div persisting here, we need to provide a from field. So should be from field, and in that particular from field, we're gonna need to provide that. So as you know, the how to build up the from field and how to extract those things here, so you have this idea, right? So now in that parameter here, I'm gonna make it a little bit smaller so that it can really be align all together. Okay, so now we need to grab that from item, because every from field gonna be happen to be get the from item, getting the from label, and also going to be have to be the from control, and then again I'm gonna get the input value property and also the from message. And you can see the first name is right here. Now, what's actually we're doing here? In that particular from field, we are providing the from control. That name tag is very, very important, because according to that name, it's gonna get the value. The name is the first name, and the render property we're rendering a from item, and in the item we're providing the label as the first name, and then the from control we're providing the input value. You see how it's gonna be coming on focus, so that's what we are extracting over there. And we have this input value for the placeholder as the first name. Disable gonna be whenever is loading is true, it should be disabled, and the class name border grade 300, just simple classes, and then we're spreading all other field. And if we're having to get the error, we're gonna provide the error right here in that from messages, right? So this gonna happen to get two separate from field here, so that should be another one, and this from field gonna be containing the last name, because this gonna be a side by side. So as you can see, the first name and last name is going to be side by side. So the same parameter, just providing the last name value. So we're going to go over here at the div itself, where actually the thing's going to be happen to be there. So you're going to provide a class name, going to be flex column by default, empty screen should be flex row, and you're going to provide a gap of 4. Okay, so this is the entire contradiction which we are providing. So this now combining our first argument over here, the first name and the last name. Then now we need to provide that email and password properties. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go and bring back all the from control properties, so that it should have an idea of what's actually we are building up right here. And of course we need to grab the link here from the next link. And now let's go, also need to provide the checkbox from React UI. Not like that, should be checkbox. Okay, like that. Now if we go at the top, so we're going to start from especially from the email, right? So this is the another from field here, like as you can see here, this looks good. So in the from item, we're going to have it again the from label, which is according to the email. Then over here happen to the getting the motion and the input property yourexample.com, the similar parameter the way we used to did in our login form. Type email, disable is loading, and spreading the field, providing the from message. The same way password, and also providing the password and the same parameter, and also the confirm password. As you can see, the password, the same field attracted on by. And for the role is different, because as you can see the role that should be disabled, nobody can touch on there, right? So we are making the role as a disable parameter. So as you can see right now, placeholder user type text disable, so there is no value is coming as a user, and you see we are making it the cursor not allowed, and also providing the disable flag parameter. So now you can see it's disable, so you can just user can see as a user he can register over here. Then for the field here, the similar of that other one, like the login, we're getting that same as the check mark that these things can be done. So now as you can see, we're gonna just simply go in, you can just simply go directly in the login form, login. Okay, so that should be why is okay, sign in form, I think so, sign in form. So you can directly grab that. You can see over here the button which actually working right there. So you can also grab that particular button, the same button, it gonna work also here. If we just come here before the particular instances, if we just pass that, we need to grab that loader 2 icon, we need to grab that, let's say sign, let's say it's gonna be passing that as register, or you can see door open icon, and then also we can provide that button from the components itself. As you can see that sign in, so not the sign in, it should be register. So let's say register, or instead of that we can pass that user plus icon. Okay, so that could be also looks good. So for the loading instances, whenever it's gonna loading, instead of signing in, we can just simply make that, let's say creating account dot. Okay, so that's gonna be for the loading circle. You can just simply check it there. So how it gonna work on that? So that is the extracting value over here. And so that, as you can see, we already providing the altogether parameter for the cart content, and after that we're going to have a cart footer value which you're going to say already have an account. Then you can directly go in sign in. If you click, it will take you to the sign in. If you click, it will take you to the sign up. So this is the way how we can combine it all together to make things better and individually align it all together. I know we're skipping a lot of things for fast forward movement because you're gonna have this entire course, so nothing to worry, free of cost, no need to pay anything. You're gonna get the entire code which we are copy pasting here, typing here, analyzing here. All the code you're gonna have it in the repo, so you can directly grab it from there. And whenever you're gonna update the code, especially on the turbo repo build gonna come, it will be already there in the branch, so nothing to worry about it. You're gonna grab it. So first of all, we need to go directly at the from value here. So this is our from at the top. So in the from, what we need to do is that we will make an on submit parameter. So let's go to create that on submit. And in the on submit value, it should be from dot handle submit, and over here we're gonna just take a function which going to say as on submit, right? We need to create that function. So I'm gonna copy that, I'm gonna go at the top here, and then let's say const on submit function, and that function it's gonna be an asynchronous function. Okay, so asynchronous function, that's it, which gonna take a parameter as a data. So whenever we're gonna run that function, it will calculate the data over here, then it's gonna start extracting the value. Of course, we're gonna make the try catch parameter, and whenever it's gonna run, set is loading should be as true. And also again, we're gonna create a finally parameter, finally. So not like that, finally. So in the finally, set is loading should be as false. So that this is gonna be extracting the value. And if we're getting that error, so let's say it should be the console.register error, and also you're gonna provide a toast message, need to import the toast from the sooner registration failed, please try again. So that's the message which it will combine for us. Now we need to combine, we need to create some of the separation like that, combine first name and last name into full name for registration, right? So that should be register data. So that should be register data function, and over here we're going to combine that. First of all, we're going to combine the name, and we're going to use the backtick, and on the backtick value we're going to combine that data dot first name and then data dot last name over there, and email password and the role. Okay, not like that, till the role we're gonna keep it. So in the register data we are just providing two separate value, getting the name which gonna be first name and last name gonna be concatenated together using a space, then email and also the password, then the role, because confirm password is not required. Now after that, what we're gonna do, await, we're gonna register over there, and then we're gonna pass the entire register data, and we can just graph the value if you wanted to, similar way, you know, Satoshi success and also router.push, where we are pushing for the auth sign in. So this is how we're gonna combine it all together to provide a very solid and gradual value over here. Again, ignore those things, it's because coming from the dot modules and others, but your variation, it will not surplus on that. So right now what we need to do is that we will try to create a user, right? So let's say YouTube, and here gonna be user. So let's say YouTube at we're gonna provide that as gmail.com. So it will be youtube at gmail.com. Then you're gonna provide a password, so let's just provide a password, and that's it. Click on register, creating the account, so that we can make sure, okay, as you can see, register successful, please sign in. So our YouTube user is getting to be done on that. If I just trying to sign in right now, as you can see, we have the user, and that's just coming from the localhost problem, but because there should be a showing that why a letter could be coming in a very good way. So right now, as you can see, we are happen to be get the registration form, we are happen to be get that sign in form. So our authentication parameter is perfectly working, and now as you can see, we are providing the gradual value. We can now go start valuing that add to cart functionality, right? Button click, it should not be like that. So if we go to create that add to cart button in the client, here we can now provide the data instances, how and why we are going to extract the data value. So right now we have the product and others. So now we can also extract the value we need to provide to create that add to get that for for use card value. Okay, get user card, why is coming from use card value, that's we need to check. Okay, because we need to provide some of the hooks by which we can use that use card property. So right now, as we are happen to be get in the components in the hooks, we will get a separate hooks which are going to be grab the property value over here. Okay, from store type declaration, so we can directly get, let's see, store, no, where is our where we are heading our store, because we keep the store in the leave, yeah, that's we can say. So in the leave, then / store. Okay, so now that could be card state. Is the card state is right there? No, it's not getting from there, so you can simply, okay, I think leave store, card store, yeah, that okay, that's not I should not align in that way. Let's see what's happening. I think it was my bad. It should not be in that way, because remember we have a card for, because I make a very wrong calculation over here. I was copying from the application layer, because we supposed to get that one as our client layer, right? Because we have multiple layer, and that is very problematic to grab those things like that. So now also we're gonna have that use router, not from the router, but from the navigation. Okay, so now we have three separate value. We have the authenticated from the user store. We have loading, local loading, set local loading. We have the router, set router. So this all value is right here. Now what you're gonna do whenever you're gonna handle add to card, we need to provide some of the variation. First of all, we need to provide any default parameter. So should be react dot gonna be mouse event. So here we're gonna make that simply as that e dot prevent default. So default prevention gonna be there. Then we're gonna make that if we doesn't have the authenticated value, if the user is not authenticated, then we're gonna pass some message, right? So if the user is not authenticated, it's gonna get the toast that please sign in to add items to your cart, browser push or sign in. Then it's gonna return over there, and then it's gonna make that set local loading as true. After that, it's gonna get the try catch property value here, so should be try catch. And also it's gonna be getting that finally parameter here. So in the finally set is local loading, set a local loading should be as false. And for the catch property here, we need to provide an error value so that a user can understand that the error is going on. So it should be add to cart error, and the fail to add to cart, please try again. Now over here, whenever we're gonna click on that, we're gonna use that await add to cart. So add to cart from the lib API, and we're gonna pass that our product. We're gonna pass that a value of 1. And then if we have like added successfully, we want to pass a message here. Okay, what is saying? Product is not assignable. That should not be. Did you get the okay, we didn't use card store. Okay, it should not be coming from there. It need to be coming from our card store. So should be const, and here it gonna be is equal to use card store. Okay, so from there we're gonna use that add to cart. Okay, right now our add to cart, it will not throw any error. So as you can see, it's not providing that. We need to provide the entire function as an asynchronous value. So now if everything okay, we should be able to adding a product in the cart. So let's go over here. If we add, let's see, okay, you see the added to the cart. So product is adding to the cart, but the value need to be changing over here. So we need to provide some of the loading instances. That should be just a very simple parameter. As you see that previous value should be aligning it all together, just providing a loader whenever the local loading gonna happen. So if we click here, as you can see, adding, so that it's gonna be added to cart successfully, and then you can see the description. So as you can see, according to it, we also need to be update our header where we are happen to be get our card icon. We need to provide our each and individual value here to make it properly aligned, so that it can really make things better to be go and understandable. So to do that, remember we need to provide two particular values right here. So we need to also make that one as a use client flag. So use client, we need to get our user card store, and then also we need to provide our use state property value here. So now what we need to do as is, you can also modify that one like that way. You can make mounting parameter. If mount or not mount is because it can be problematic whenever we are using a server side property here to be get that any prevention, like as you can see, it can create any prevent any hydration mismatch by rendering card count on server. So these are the things you can use that if you are looking forward to. So if not mounted, we're gonna provide it 0. If mounted, we're gonna provide our count. So how can we can grab the count? Should be const total item should be is equal to card items with quantities, and from there we're gonna just simply grab the length. That's it. So this is the value is combining that number of unique products that should be instead of total quantity. Okay, so that's only the count we are going to have that, right? So now this is the total item. So href gonna be there. Okay, card icon, it should be not user card, should be user, not order, should be card. And over here we need to provide that total counts. Okay, if the total counts, let's say total items, if total items is bigger than 99, then it gonna be make the 9 and plus, otherwise total items. You can see is 2. If we click another, it's gonna be just adding 2 as the 3. So this is the value property, how we are going to working on that. So now it's working. That's perfectly aligned. Now one of the important things that we need to fix that value ratio for the small menu, right? It doesn't have any menu, so this is the menu which we need to combine it to grab the things done, right? To create the small screen menu, what we need to do is to go back to our header, which is now in the client source components header. Now over here, as you can see, we have that component scenario where we need to provide the details and others. So they're the one where the side where it's gonna go and popping through it. And as you can see that the button over here, which circulating all other parameters. So this is the button and other consolidation. So I'm going to keep it that orders icon, wish list icon, card icon. So even we're going to moving directly through the small screen. As you can see, we can see those value, right? So now as those much value is going to be there, this another button need to be appearing here to make things better and attractive. So how we can do that? First of all, to do that one, we need to create a sidebar. So let's just go over here, and I believe that should be within the header. We're gonna create another components which will be sidebar.tsx or fce. That should be our sidebar, right? So let's go back to the header, and over here we can keep that our sidebar, and also like that should be sidebar from the sidebar. So now, as you can see, we have sidebar, and it looks better than the design which we have beforehand, because there is the other menu need to be appearing, of course. So now we are actually happen to be in a better position. And also you can do one more alignment if you are looking forward to. You can see instead of flex center, you can just make that flex end, items end. I think let's say bj of that. I think we can make it as a flex one. Yeah, then it's gonna push that together to be getting much more space. So what we can do to do that is either we can keep that one, like to make that flex one, you know, so that it can be I think it will not get that proportion here. Yeah, it will not get that proportion. So we can do that by keeping another div here, and then we can make that flex one. You can see an item center, and now let's say bg rate. Okay, and we can make justify center to keep everything middle, but still those things is not legitimately getting the way it's supposed to be. Let's say waitful, no, why anyway, I think I'm gonna keep it the way it is right now, because it's making the popping things a bit of a different way. Or as you can see, we have that proportioning sidebar and others justify between, and MD getting the justify stars, or we can make that as justify between. And let's say I want to see what actually happening. We have that. So now the all things gonna working together. We have the sidebar, we have the logo, right? So also if we get blue, so we can see individual items. So that's the sidebar taking a prop, ups, that's the Lalo taking the prop. So I think we can, instead of the flex one, we can simply making that one as a grid value. As you can see, we can make that one as a grid, and grid calls of 3. That's it. So that's also how you can combine it together, but I'm going to keep it as the way it is right now, so that it can make a room for that. So let's go directly in the sidebar. So in the sidebar, what we're going to do is that we should be happen to get a button, right? So it should be just a simple button, and in the button we're gonna put a menu icon from the Lucid React. So that's the menu icon which we are talking about. And on that menu icon, we are going to get to separate state property. One should be coming from that, let's say set is sidebar open, and then set is sidebar open. So it's gonna be showing that when the sidebar gonna open and how. Then we have the toggle sidebar, which gonna just make the sidebar toggle and true false. So as you can see, once we click and once we click, it just go disappear on that. So that's the one which we're gonna create. And also whenever on click on that property should be a toggle sidebar. And for the div here, put a class name MD should be hidden. So we don't want to see the menu, especially in MD screen. Okay, what's that? Use state we declare. So of course we need to provide entire segment as use client parameter. So use client. Okay, now we're good to go. So now what we can do, we can also make that left sidebar. So as it's opening from the left, so I think we can make that header left side bar.tsx or fce. So that's gonna be our header left sidebar, which gonna properly align it together. So that should be, let's say, header left sidebar, and that's left sidebar is open, value should be its sidebar open, and also in on-close property it's gonna providing the variance how it can really make that one as unclose and variance. So on side we can make like that. Also we can make a simple contradiction is that set is sidebar open should be as false. Okay, that's it. So we are passing that two separate value directly over there. As you can see, we have that left sidebar, like the header left sidebar is already there, but we are passing two separate value, right? And in the two value, both are gonna be as like is open gonna be as the boolean value. It can be either true, false, but on close is gonna be a void, means we are passing a function, so that in both parameter can work together to pass the variation in a proper way. So we can also make that and react.fc to create that functional component parameter. So sorry, should be fc, so functional parameter, and then we can simply pass that sidebar pops, and over here we can simply grab that together, that is open and on close parameter. So that's two value gonna be combining it all together. Now in the return parameter we can do so many things, and of course first of all we will import that motion which we are going to use here. So from the motion we are going to recover it. Now what we're going to do, we are going to use that motion.div here, and in the motion.div we're going to have another div, then we're going to have a link from our next link, then we are going to have our image. So let's say it's going to be image from the next image, and that's gonna be combining on that the href should be /home, and that source gonna be passing that small logo. So that's the logo which we are talking about right now. As you can see, whenever we're gonna click, that's the logo ready to deliver, and then we have the quick links, we have the other parameter, we have login, register button. So right now as you can see, once we logged in, that could be a different parameter also. Right now what we need to do is that we will combine a separate parameter here, right? So what we're gonna say right now, once we click, as you can see, that will coming. If we click outside, it will disappear. We're gonna make the things to happen. Now what actually we did, we make it fixed. Inside y is 0, hide screen, left 0, z 50 with full, and we are providing also a background color which is the baby shop black. And I believe we have that 50% opacity, shadow axle, and in the transformation which we are making that and transform value, whenever is open, translate x is 0. If it's not open, we are making minus translate x is full. So means is that it's going to be totally inside of that parameter, right? And instead of like we have the transition transform is in out duration 300. So this is a certain setup of point how we are combining it all together. Then in that parameter over here, we should be happen, like as you can see inside that one is have a little bit of glitch of the animation here, which is tiny, but you can view it as much far. And also we need to be happen to be get a reference here. So that reference should be, let's say sidebar ref. So should be sidebar ref and is equal to use that. We're gonna make that outside click. Right now we doesn't have that. We need to create that functionality by which we can make that hook over here. So I'm gonna go directly in our hooks. So did we create any hooks? Yeah, and in the index we're gonna just pass that hooks called that use sidebar click. And what actually is doing here, just pretty understanding on that, whenever we click, you see this is the property here, the white screen showing the menu. If I click outside of the white screen, you see it's also closing. The similar things when we click on the cut button, that's the same thing which is actually doing those parameter. So right now there's also okay, use hydration. I think that's not required right now. So now what actually we're doing, we are making that use a sidebar outside click, and here we are just taking a callback function over here in the white. We're taking the reference which coming from the use ref, and by default we're keeping it as null. Then we're keeping as an use effect parameter, and we are making that function called handle click outside, which are going to be taking a mouse event, and if the reference dot current, and also if the not reference current contains event target as like the value, we're gonna passing that callback. It just have a notation here. If I click within that parameter, okay, then that should not be like that. If I click within that parameter, it will not close. If I click outside of it, as you can see, it's gonna recognize as a handle mouse down parameter of the handle click outside, and on the document.even listener also gonna passing that handle click outside, and that's the reference which gonna passing directly over there. So we can now get that up directly from the hooks, by which we can now utilize that one within our application layer. And whenever you're gonna passing that, we also need to make that HTML div element. So that should be div element, the type. And then in that parameter, we're going to pass that our onClose function. So that's the function going to run. So whenever we're going to click outside, it will directly go with that onClose parameter. So that's the one which actually we are talking about right now as we are passing that. So let's say in that div itself, so I think in the div where we are making some valuable animation here, so here we're gonna passing two separate circulation, one gonna be a reference of that particular div instances. So if we click here, okay, there is a tiny bit of error which we are getting directly. That is annoying. Why on close? Okay, I think the name of the function, yeah, that's the one which we mistake. It's just gonna be appearing on that. I'm gonna just remove that. Now as you can see, we can see the view here, and also if we click here, you see the on close is just working perfectly as it is. What's the error here? Let's see. Okay, image. Okay, no worries, we're gonna passing the value later on. So now we have those parameter because we make that minimum width of a 72, so it's gonna 72 into 4, so that max width is 96 parameter, like the maximum 96 value. Background is getting white and text getting black. We're gonna providing z index of 50, hide screen, border r, and border r gonna be take orange. I think it's not right there, so border r, let's say baby shop red, I'm going to provide. You can see there is a red structure on there, flex column gap 6, and we're going to making everything as relative. So right now we're going to combine it other parameters. So this is the link and this is the image. In the image we're going to provide that the alt text should be a small let's say a small logo, and also for the particularly for the class name here, we're gonna just make that width of 8. Okay, so that could be a very conceptual things here. So put a class name over on the div. We're gonna make it a flex item should be center, justify should be between. We're gonna make a border bottom, and then a padding b should be 4 and padding should be 5. So overall it's gonna get the padding parameter. I think padding bottom is not required whenever we're gonna providing the padding. Now for the link itself, it's gonna be put a class name flex items should be items should be end, and also we're gonna make that one as a gap of 2, as because after the logo you're gonna have a p tag should be ready to deliver, and that p tag gonna contain put a class name, text should be base, font should be medium. So that's the one which we are looking forward to. So now this is the div is done over here. After the div, we're gonna happen to be have another div, then another div parameter where you're gonna be passing that quick links sections. So quick links section. So in that quick link section, so we need to provide some of the data layer itself. So right now what you're gonna do, you're gonna provide an h3 which gonna referring that quick links, right? So now you can see the value is just popping through up. We're gonna make everything flex column, and we're gonna make that justify as the between parameter, and the flex 1 parameter it's gonna take. Padding x should be 5 and overflow should be hidden. So this is the combination value we are going to adapt over here. Now for that h3 tag, we will make it a little bit better. Text should be small text, font should be semi bold, text should be gray of let's say 600, not like that, should be gray of 600. And then after that we're gonna make that everything as uppercase. Tracking should be wider. So kind of same scenario which we are looking forward to passing back here. Now after that h3 tag, we're gonna be passing that some of the parameter by which we can define our entire segment, how it's gonna be look alike and what kind of links it gonna popping up. I'm gonna taking that star icon, and by the way you can also render it from the database which gonna coming up in our turbo repo, and also you can make an array of data then passing here directly. So I'm not gonna go with that much mambo jumbo here. As you know, we are trying to fix it just a very simplistic way so that it can be fine and easy and good to go. Now what actually we did, of course before going further, I'm going to also make that this one, so should be okay. I think what I'm typing, okay, I think the class name that should be let's say it's gonna be providing that overflow y, which going to be scroll, and then or instead of scroll, we can make it simply an auto. Flex should be 1 and padding right should be 2. So that's going to be combination over here. Now in the quick links, we have a link for the home button. You know, whenever we click, it will go to the home. We have the shop button, shop all. Then also we're gonna have that new arrivals and under $50. So this is the link which you're gonna passing that you see the shop price range, it's gonna be popping up. So everything gonna be underlined in a very proper way. So now for that quick view link, so this is the h3 tag over here. So I think I'm gonna also providing that, let's say I'm gonna make that one as so I think I'm gonna wrapping everything within another div here, so that should be providing a very good sense. So we're gonna make that class name over here, and then space y should be 3, so that will be a gap in between, and margin bottom we're gonna provide as 6, right? So now this is the action button for the quick action. So that's the done of the quick action parameter, and after the quick action we also going to have that another parameter which gonna be passing that as a call that let's say it's gonna be for that shopping range for the particular the shop by age parameter. And in that shop by age, you see the newborn, we are providing that data for the newborn 0 to 6 months. We are providing that infant 6 to 12 months, toddler 1 to 2 years, and then the baby, and then for the kids for 2 years plus. So this is the one which are gonna combining those parameter to. This is just a static link setup, so you can either do it by yourself or you can make that things the way you are looking forward to. But now here we're gonna need to work in a very proper way. First of all, let's go back to in that proper mathematical situation is authenticated or other parameter, which still we didn't call it. So we are going to directly go at the top. We need to get a to separate value, so that should be coming from there is authenticated, or we're gonna just simply grab that. We're gonna passing that two separate value. One value gonna be passing that from the user store. We are going to use that authenticated parameter, and then also you're going to use that auth user, logout user, and in the logout it will automatically log out the user, and then you're going to run that on close event. Now for that is authenticated, right? So this is the value which we are gonna make things done to be there. So now what's actually going to happen? So especially for that particular instances, whenever the authentication gonna be there, so right now whenever a user is authenticated, and also we're gonna have to have that auth user, only then we're gonna do something. Let's say you're gonna have the div, and otherwise we also gonna have another div. So if the user is not aligned, right, so that's we're gonna passing a simple combination of that access your account to view orders and wish list, and now user, right? So this is the combination which as you can see, access your account to view orders and wish list. So that's the one which are passing the message right there. So we can just make that message, let's say text should be a small text, and we can just simply make that null value. So access your account to view orders and wish list. But right now, as we have the user, right, once the user is logged in, we will let user to view so many parameters, right? So what kind of parameters we are talking about? If we just go directly pushing everything, whatever we are going to let user to be focused on that, I'm going to let you see. I'm going to just get the icon right now. So the heart icon, and also we can get the package icon. Then we're gonna have to have that user circle, and after, so right now what's actually as you can see, what actually we are providing on that, we are getting that welcome back the user, we are providing the my profile, my orders, wish list, and my cart. So this is the same parameter in the my profile, getting the user profile, orders gonna passing that user orders, and every time you're gonna click on that button here, you can see the menu gonna be closed. So that's what we are dealing about and talking about right now. So as you can see, we have the orders, wish list, cart, and others. So after that, as we are happen to be providing that, we also gonna passing that help and support. So after the variation, like after passing that parameter, we also should have another for happen to be passing that other data layer. Let's see. Okay, so now over here Okay, we're gonna have that help and support, so help center, shopping information, and contact us. So this is the value for particularly in that proper manner. Now after that, we're gonna also happen to be provided a very strategic data layer. So I'm gonna just minimize that help and support. Okay, after passing that help and support, so after the data, we should be happen to be passing that a fixed footer section, right? So that's going to be a fixed footer section, and we're going to pass a div, then another div, and we're going to pass that is authenticated user, and if auth user is there, then we're going to have a div, let's say going to be user, otherwise gonna have another div portion. Like if we have the user, then okay, fine, the user gonna be taking the value. If we doesn't have the user, what you want, we will show separate to button here, so that button gonna pass that, let's say it will let user to directly go and coordinate over there. So right now as you can see, I need to make that like in so far. So let's see what actually will happen to be there. We have the my account, login, register, right? So that's the one which we are talking about. So I think we can provide a margin bottom of 2, so to provide, or we can make it 1. I think 2 is good. So now as we have the user, we are not needing that, right? And of course there are 2 button is there, so I think we can pass a div and put a class name of that space y of 3. So that's really gonna be a cool parameter here. So right now no, it's not providing the statement which okay, I'm gonna removing that the way it is supposed to be, as we need to provide some more parameter here. So let's go put a class name over here that should be passing that padding y should be 4, so that's gonna be providing a room, and then we're gonna provide a border of t, and then bj should be baby shop white. Okay, so that's the entertaining parameter. Now login and register button, and we can just simply pass that, let's say for this one, margin top of 4, so that, or I can put a 2 so that we can have that other view. Now if we have that authenticated user, so in that parameter we can simply pass a let's say another a div here. No, not a div. I'm gonna just simply pass the button, right? Button. In that button we're gonna pass that logout, so that's gonna be containing over there. As we now happen to be have the user, we should be get the button. So in the button put the I'm gonna provide the, let's say the variant should be outline, and also we're gonna make that a class name. We're gonna get a full width, and then padding y should be, let's say 5. Okay, providing, or we can make that 5.5 just to be clear. And then after initially providing that, text should be base, font should be semi bold. And now what we can do, you can, as you can see, that's coming directly from our core, and then whenever we're going to click on that, should be handle logout functionality. So whenever we're going to click right now, as you can see, if we click our entire logout parameter gonna happen. So right now we are logged out. As you can see, we are not used to be there as a logged in, so we can simply go with that YouTube, our particular email, and then we can log in again. Right now we are happen to be that particular productivity, and we got everything together. As you can see, now it looks cool. You see, we are almost going to finish the setup, right? We are very good situation to go and make things done in a pretty decent way. Now one is the most important thing is right now to bring back lots of productive pages, which really can make our application cool and better. So let's go back in our main page here, and in the main page, as you can see, our search is our search working? Our search is not working, so we're gonna let our search bar to be finished and let it work, so that it can be looking very nice and clean. So let's go directly in our header, where we are happen to be get everything which is related to our search input. So this is the search input. So I'm going to close all other parameters. So right now, as you can see, we have all of these values previously just taking directly from there. So now we can now initialize those values to let work together and to make those things in a pretty clear and to make it pretty decent. So now first of all, we can get the product types. Also we can get that USD bounce parameter. So let's get USD bounce. I think we need to get that our use the bounce hook. or I think there's the package which we need to provide that. So if we just go here, import, and there we need to use the bounds. So yeah, I think we need to grab that package. So let's say cd into client and pmi. We need to grab that use the bounds package right here. Otherwise, we can't use. So once we are happen to grab that package, we can now simply use that, or we can import that directly here. And then we need to also provide that use wrap from React, and also that element interface here to grab the value. So right now we have that a particular scenario to get and to make things done in a very decent way. First of all, we have the set search value here, which is already working perfect. We have the debound search to get providing a delay of 300 milliseconds. Then we're going to set we're going to get the products, and we're going to set the products directly here. We're going to get the featured products. So what is the featured products? Featured products is the products directly showing here. So that's the product which we are actually showing. Otherwise, whenever we're going to searching, like say baby, you can see the search going on, we can see the baby product. So that's how it's gonna be entertaining over there. We have two set of product, one going to be for the features, another going to be the normal products. We're gonna having the set loading, loading and set loading value, error, set error value. We're gonna have the show results and set show results. We have the search ref. We have also the mobile input ref. And after that, our first instances, we need to get our let's say fetch. So that should be it is fetch featured products. So that should be an asynchronous function. So first of all, we're gonna make that a try catch value. So if there is the error on the console, so we're gonna simply make that a console.error fetching feature orders, and then we're gonna providing that error. Now we're gonna make that response, and the response should be is equal to await. We're gonna make that fetch data, and in the fetch data, it's the data gonna be passing as that product's response. Right now we doesn't have that entertaining parameter, so we need to define that at the top, what kind of response or what kind of product's gonna be there. As you can see in the interface, the product's gonna be coming as the product, and also gonna be passing as the total number. So these two value gonna be passing that. So we can now simply pass that. It could be passing with that product's response. So should be product's response, right? And after that, we need to provide that functionality by which we can simply go with that product. So should be products, and then we're gonna also make the page like whatever the page ratio is right now. We don't want to make anything, just simply a single page, or I'm going to keep it as it is right now, okay? Because by default it's going to provide a 10 like a certain kind of 10 parameter, so no need to provide that value, right? And let's say set feature product should be response dot products, right? So whatever the response products are getting, that should be aligning it all together. So right now we will provide an use effect parameter, use effects, and in the use effect we can now get the value here. So that should be an empty dependency. Now over here in the use effect, we can just simply get that fetch feature products, and that should be just passing that array dependency here. So right now, what's the error here? Let's see. The children not have changed a pass in the same set. Okay, we will see. So right now we will just go try to check if we are receiving anything or not. So if we go and log over here, especially for that feature product, as you can see, we getting the 10 products by default. So that's the 10 initialization which will happen to be done in a pretty decent way. So we have the 10 product. Right now we can show the 10 product particularly whenever we are actually dealing with that. So I'm going to go directly over there. Now there should be a lot of other parameter. Now we're going to start from the beginning to make things done in a pretty decent way. First of all, we're going to get the ref, and the ref should be passing that, going to be passing that a search ref. That's the reference which we are going to combine. So we are going to happen to be the button and others. So after initial that, before the from here, we can make that, let's say it's gonna be passing that I think it's gonna be passing the desktop search, and in the desktop search we are going to have a button here. I think yes, we're gonna provide the button, so let's provide that. So I think that's the one which actually okay, toggle button. Okay, so I think the both parameter we are already happen to be have there, right? So toggle search menu, because that's not the desktop search, that should be the small search. Yeah, that should be the small search. So text not white, I think we can provide that the toggle search button here. We can simply run the function, because this button is already there also, but we can't be able to see here, is because that is in white color. That is the one which is happened to be grabbing the problem. So I'm gonna make that text should be baby shop black, and also the similar parameter we're gonna make that baby shop black, and you can see there is the one. So that's the one which actually happened to be providing the data layer which we mismatch. Now we can also provide a border over here to make that looks good, and padding of 2, and then we can make that rounded full, so that you can see this is the one which we are looking forward to, right? So if we hover, we're going to provide a border of that baby shop sky, and whenever hover, bj should be baby shop sky with a 10% opacity. We're going to provide hover effect over here. So now this is the combination layer of that particular data instances right now, as you can see. Okay, cool. You can see, I think this is pretty cool. So now also we can, instead of putting that right there, we can make it as a group. So whenever we're gonna hover on that group, that thing's gonna work. And also for whenever we're gonna make that group hover, you know, those things gonna change. So now we have that. So now it's combined. So it's also right here, is there, but it's because of that color combination, you can see, but it is there. So now we have this one for this is not for desktop view, this is for the small screen, right? Small screen search. So now we got this small screen search, which are gonna be passing that as a toggle value, and in the from value also we are making that on submit. We can just go with that on submit parameter on submit, and in the on submit value we can just pass a simple e value here, e dot. We're gonna make this simply as the default value. We don't want to initialize any default parameter. So right now, as you can see, everything is good to go. So right now what we need to do, whenever our this gonna be activated, right? If we click outside, it's gone. So whenever it's activated, I want that menu to be appearing right here. So we have that our parameter of the search value. So okay, good. So after that functional parameter, we're gonna have that mobile search SE search overlay. So that should be the one value, and there should be the another value which gonna be desktop search, right? So that should be desktop search results drop down. Okay, so first we're going to create the desktop menu property. So if we have that show results, and we doesn't have that set show search, so that we can now show the proper value of that instances, we're going to have a div. On the div, if there is a loading parameter going on, we're going to show that a loading icon. So means we are going to provide that if the loading is there, that should be like the loading icon gonna indicating that it is loading, you need to wait. If there is no loading, and if there is the products dot length is bigger than 0, then we're gonna have to, let's say it's gonna have to say that we have the products. And if it's like we doesn't have any products right now, so that time also we need to provide a certain kind of scenario by which it's gonna be lookalike and gonna be match something in a better way. So first thing first, I'm gonna just if there is no product right now, I'm gonna go with this parameter on that, and I'm gonna just showcase that we doesn't have any product. So if we click right now, nothing happened. Like if we search for something, like say baby, you can see nothing gonna happen yet, because we are not yet rewriting those functionality and others. So first of all, right now, as you can see, after the div, I want to show the feature data, right? So I'm gonna click another div here. So I'm gonna make that feature products dot I'm gonna provide a length if we have the length is bigger than 0, and I'm gonna showcase the product. So that should be feature products dot map, and in the map we are going to get that, let's say the item should be according to the product here. So I'm going to inline return over there. From the div, it should be passing a button here. In the button, we're going to provide a search icon, let's say the search and after the search icon gonna have a div here, and then I think no need to provide a div. I think just provide an h3 text here, which gonna passing that item dot name. And over here, as we are mapping through it, we're gonna provide a key, should be item dot id. So right now, as you can see, still the menu is not showing. It's because whenever our underlying parameter like show results and other parameter is not indicating when the show results gonna happen, right? So this is the combination where we need to make things pretty decent, right? So I'm gonna bring back to you so that you can understand it a pretty decent way. So we're gonna make that a use effect parameter, right? So it should be coming within a use effect as that watcher gonna rerun time to time just to check. So now here we're gonna make that const handle click outside. So not like that, should be handle clicked click outside. So in that proportion here, it's gonna passing that as an event should be, let's say, gonna be coming as a mouse event. And after that, after passing that event, we're gonna make that if especially by make the legitimate saying if the search ref dot current is there, and if the like if we can have that no search ref okay, search ref dot current dot contains, and if the contains gonna be passing that, let's say, event dot target, and that could be as note. And then we're gonna make that as a set a show search as false value here. And after that, we're gonna also calling that to separate a variable here, just to call an interlinked over there to get the function triggered together. So right now what is gonna happen, so whenever we're gonna make that gonna happen to be get that mouse down effect whenever you're gonna click outside of that particular scenario, and then it's gonna passing that. Now if we click here, as you can see, still we are not getting anything because still it's not there. So we need to provide the reference such a way so that it can be providing on that particular instances. And also we need to provide another use effect by which we can focus on that particular ratio. As you can see, set new search and the mobile input value here, the current, the mobile input. So that's the for the particularly for the mobile input value right now. But we need to go and initialize our first parameter of how we can show the search value. So now to implement that one, let's go over here. We have the search ref, right? And then also we have the toggle search value, so which actually getting everything done in a very decent way. But over here in the input, we need to also run another on focus parameter. So on focus, in that on focus function, it's going to be running set show results, which we need to make it as true, so that the value going to be whenever, as you can see, whenever we're going to clicking on that, you see the way it's showcasing the result, of course, is breaking because it's not providing in such a way which need to be combined in a pretty decent way. Now for the entire result which actually we are showcasing, I'm gonna coming directly back from the div here. I'm gonna provide some of the style over here, so that's gonna be combining the proportion of that absolute top full margin top of 1, left 0, right 0, bg white, rounded md, shadow lg, jet index of 50, max height should be maximum 70, view height, overflow y should be auto border grade 200, lg block, and also by default it's gonna be hidden. For the smallest screen it's gonna be hidden, and LG screen it's gonna be blocked. So I'm gonna just bring back over here so that it could be easy to read. So right now if we click, as you can see, it's popping on the site ratio, right? And for the value here for the featured products, right? So first we are actually fixing that featured product. So that's the div which we are talking about for the feature itself. So right now as we have the div, right, so we can also combine to make things done. So this is the one which actually mapping to the product itself. So we are providing every product has a border segment. And after that also for the button here, so the button is gonna make that flex item should be center, so gonna be a side by side, and then gap should be 3 together, and text should be, let's say, left, and padding x should be 4, and padding y should be 3. So now you can see that's providing a very good competitive combination here, the similar of it, and this looks pretty nice. And after that, padding y3 and hover should be cursor pointer, and we're going to make that as a hover. If I don't need to also putting that for the search value here, we're going to make that, let's say, class name, a text should be baby shop. Let's say I'm going to provide the light text. Is it good? Yeah, it looks good. And also you're going to provide a width of 5, height of 5. So okay, cool. Now after that, h3 tag, put a class name. Text should be sm, font should be, let's say, medium, and text should be gray of 800 to provide a very good catchy text, and line claim should be 1. I think that 1 instead of that baby shop black with 60% opacity. Yeah, that looks good. So now once we click, you can see that value going to be directly redirecting to the search value, right? So we need to also implement those particular segments. So what I'm going to do, so whenever we're going to make that on-click event here, so on-click event, and over the on-click event, it's going to perfectly align of that, let's say, set search. So whatever the item.name, it should be there. It could be provided set search, and set show result going to be true, as because whenever we're going to click, as you can see, the delta children are okay, there's no results, so means nothing find over there of that. It's okay because we didn't implement the search feature yet. So right now, as you can see, so as we are happen to be providing that data layer, also we're going to provide that once we are happen to be grab the products, right? We can just simply pass the value. So in the products, it's going to be a little bit complicated, but I'm going to explain to you so that you can find all the scenario in a pretty decent way. So now this is the, whenever we are going to have the products.length is bigger than 0, then we're gonna providing the search results, and then if error there is, that we are throwing the error right there, and then we're mapping through the products. And in the products, as you can see, we're providing the key of an ID, then providing just and border proportion, then we are just creating that design. So as you can see, that's the design which we create. So if we click on baby, so now this is the design. We have the image, name, price, and the company name, then also add to cart. And add to cart button gonna be the similar button parameter of the parameter which we have already, right? Now over here, the same things which we did, we are having to be get the div, and if we click on the image, it's gonna be taking directly to the single page image, or we can just simply pass that. Let's say we're going to provide a not like that, as we are getting that. So we're going to provide a width of, let's say, 32, not 32, it should be, let's say, 200, and we're going to get height of 200. I think that would be good. So then image, then we're providing the product.name, and after the name we are also providing the product price itself, and then we are getting the category name and also getting the brand's name. So that's what's actually you can see over here. So this is the combination here, category and brand name. So right now, as you can see, nothing happening once we are actually like providing that property of that, let's say we doesn't have any function which you're gonna properly aligned to get the product, like fetch the products, right? So how we can combine of that? So to implement that one, especially to get the fetch product, we need to go through certain kind of commotion here. So after that feature product here, we can just simply grab a function, const should be, let's say, fetch products, which also going to be the query gonna be passing as an instead of query, we can also make that, let's say, search term. So you're going to pass the search term, which is going to be as a string. So right now we will provide a little bit of combination. What we're going to say, if there is no search term, right? If there is no search term, so the term is not there, the trim, like we have no value here, then what we can do, if we doesn't have a search, we're going to make that set products should be empty, and then we're going to return. So means if we are not providing any search string, then it will do nothing, right? Now if we have that search parameter, right, then we're going to make that set loading should be as a true, and then also set error, we're going to provide an error property as null, and after that we're going to provide that try catch parameter. And in the catch parameter, it should be also passing a finally parameter. In the finally, we're going to make that set loading as false value, right? So now what's actually going to happen if we have that any error here? So we're going to provide the set error, which is going to be passing that failed to fetch products, please try again. and also we can make that, let's say, console.error. So the error fetching product, we can now finally passing the product. Now let's say we're going to provide two console response, and that should be await. I'm going to be passing that fetch data. So in the fetch data, it will getting directly of that product response here, and after the product response, we're going to use the backtick parameter to grab that attention, should be products, and in the products should be page equal to 1. And I think we can also use the similar paradigm for using that one here. You see page 1, so that could be, and we can also set the limit, but right now I think only the single page, because by default it's gonna finally providing the 10 data. So even we are encompassing, you can see, okay, what's actually popular data, I think. Anyway, we can see, okay, it's not okay, it's calling. Anyway, I'm going to keep it like that. Let's see if we need to pass anything later on. So that the page should be is equal to 1, and then we're going to passing that limit. So the limit itself here, it's going to be a passing is equal to, let's say it's going to be as a 10, and then we're going to also pass the search value. So the search value should be is equal to the value which we are going to combine, and then we're going to make that encode URI component, okay, and then here we're going to pass that search term, right? So whatever the search term is we provided, that should be aligned that together, and the set product should be passing that response dot products. So right now, as you see, everything is looks good, but it's not yet done. We need to provide that use effect parameter, and in the use effect parameter over here, okay, I think we made a mistake. So in the use effect parameter, we need to make that fetch products. So fetch, not fetch data, should be fetch product, fetch products. In the fetch products, we're gonna just simply call or invoke that function, and then here we're gonna pass that our debound search, right? So the debound search value should be aligning it here. So as you can see, did we have the debound search, right? So what actually we're providing the search value, and we are passing that of the delay of 300 milliseconds. So this is the debound search, which gonna talking and indirectly calling everything. So let's say it's gonna be debound search, and also it's gonna be fetching the fetch the products in directly. So now we are happen to be get two separate calculation here. Now if we type baby, as you can see the searching value, so it's working, right? There is a minor error, we're gonna fix it. What's the error is here? We need to maximum update depth exceeded, so that could be happen because we are calling the function over here. That should not be a good practice to do so, but let's see. So baby, okay, yeah, now we get the baby, and if we click, we can now see that product added. If we click any of the product which is not there, you can see how those things implemented, right? And also let's say we're gonna make that Huggies. Okay, cool. So now our search value is working, and also if we go in the smaller screen, if we click here, right now in the smaller screen is nothing gonna be seen right now, but we will make things done. I'm gonna just go and pass that value in a very incremental way. So this is the desktop property, and here should be passing that property of that the value here. Okay, I'm gonna provide you the data layer and image presence. We also need to get the motion. Okay, motion should be okay, why the zone is imported, and also why those things imported. So animate presence, and then also gonna be getting the motion. Okay, right now we're gonna check what actually we have been done. If we click here, as you can see, this is the implementation here, which are really gonna be cool. So I'm gonna, from the top, I'm gonna make it as 20, so that as you can see right now, okay, 20, or I think if we make 0 at the top, or let's say 24 at the top, yeah, now it looks good. So 24 is the one. If we go directly there, this is also searching properly. Now here, what's actually happened to be there, we are providing an animate presence here to provide a very good animation here. As you can see, once we click, how the way it's disappearing, it's because happen to be providing because of animate presence. Now, if you just see here, we're providing a motion here. We're providing the initial value for the opacity 0 and y20. Animate is 1, opacity 1, y0, providing an exit value going to opacity of 0, that going to directly on the 20, and then transition 0.2, providing a fixed value. By default, LG devices is hidden because right now, even you click here, and if we just move to devices, you can see it's automatically disappear. So that's what's actually it's gonna be done directly here. So right now, after that, we also providing a background color here for the input value. That's a similar input value. We are directly taking that. You see the search parameter the same. We're providing the show results just in a smaller viewpoint, nothing fancy. All our parameter is the same, so we can just simply grab that image from the next image, and also we're gonna provide our next image. We can provide the height of, let's say, 200 by 200, and let's say we're gonna also provide the width of 200. So that's it. Now, as you can see, everything is good to go and is working properly. If we type something which is doesn't available here, you can see, okay, so this is a pretty cool value here. Right now, we are making a pretty good progress here. So we have those things. Now, of course, there should be some more property here at the top. I'm gonna go in that header top, or you can say the top header. In the top header, on that, I think the top header top help center. Okay, I'm gonna add another data layer, which gonna be, let's say, shop now, which going to be passing that our shop page. Is because, as if we directly go in our shop page right now, we have no other way to provide to go in the shop page. So if we go in the shop page, you can see there is a lot of things. We have all the filters showcasing the products and others, so everything gonna be combining from here. As you can see, once we loading, the next page is loading, so everything gonna be coming back directly from that shop page. So right now, what we need to do to create our shop page to begin with, to implement those designs.